Red flame in the cold night glow, Wisconsin wind and the stars all know. She's got fire where her heart should be, liberty's call, she answers free. Stepping hills, but she's still inside, no fear, no doubt, she won't hide. Capital lights on a battle cry, a mama lying, watch her eyes. Words are weapons, truth a blade, in the chaos she's unafraid. Standing tall, she breaks the chain, crimson faith runs through her veins. Oh, they whisper, you can't change it. She smiles, watch me rearrange it. Every vote, every voice ignite, for the mothers who won't lose sight. Lover scarlet rising through the storm and smoke, voice of reason, every chain she broke. Liberty beats in her chest so loud, a freedom queen, a mother style. Crimson lights, Republican gold, this is the story the future told. Scarlet's flame, unbreakable, free, she's the power, the legacy. Moms united, hearts aligned, defending truth, they will not blind. Children's voices light the sky, they're the reason, they're the why. Born to blaze in the northern snow, Wisconsin roots, watch her grow. Constitution's ink on her soul, patriot mind control. No, she don't bend, she don't fade. Faith and family foundations laid, from freedom halls to every school. She's the queen who rewrites rule. Every scarlet rising through the storm and smoke, the voice of reason, every chain she broke. Liberty beats in her chest so wild, a freedom queen, a mother style. Crimson lights, Republican gold, this is the story the future told. Scarlet's flame, unbreakable, free, mom for liberty, eternally. Mom for liberty, eternally. Red flame shining bright, Scarlet's name, liberty's light, forever fight. Every scarlet rise, forever fight. Red flame in the cold night glow, Wisconsin wind and the stars all know. She's got fire where her heart should be, liberty's call, she answers free. Stepping hills, but she's still inside, no fear, no doubt, she won't hide. Capital lights on a battle cry, a mama lying, watch her eyes. Words are weapons, truth a blade, in the chaos she's unafraid. Standing tall, she breaks the chain, crimson faith runs through her veins. Oh, they whisper, you can't change it. She smiles, watch me rearrange it. Every vote, every voice ignite, for the mothers who won't lose sight. Lover scarlet rising through the storm and smoke, voice of reason, every chain she broke. Liberty beats in her chest so loud, a freedom queen, a mother style. Crimson lights, Republican gold, this is the story the future told. Scarlet's flame, unbreakable, free, she's the power, the legacy. Moms united, hearts aligned, defending truth, they will not blind. Children's voices light the sky, they're the reason, they're the why. Born to blaze in the northern snow, Wisconsin roots, watch her grow. Constitution's ink on her soul, patriot mind control. No, she don't bend, she don't fade. Faith and family foundations laid, from freedom halls to every school. rewrites rule. Every scarlet rising through the storm and smoke, the voice of reason, every chain she broke. Liberty beats in her chest so wild, a freedom queen, a mother style. Crimson lights, Republican gold. This is the story the future told. Scarlet flame, unbreakable, free. Mom for liberty, eternally. Mom for liberty, eternally. Red flame shining bright. Scarlet's name, liberty's light, forever fight. Every scarlet forever fight. Red flame in the cold night glow, Wisconsin wind and the stars all know. She's got fire where her heart should be. Liberty's call, she answers free. Stepping hills, but she's still inside. No fear, no doubt, she won't hide. Capital lights on a battle cry. A mama lying, watch her rise. Words are weapons, truth a blade. In the chaos, she's unafraid. Standing tall, she breaks the chain. Crimson faith runs through her veins. Oh, they whisper, you can't change it. She smiles, watch me rearrange it. Every vote, every voice ignite. For the mothers who won't lose sight. Every scarlet rising through the storm and smoke. Voice of reason, every chain she broke. Liberty beats in her chest so loud. A freedom queen, a mother style. Crimson lights, Republican gold. This is the story the future told. Scarlet's flame, unbreakable, free. She's the power, the legacy. Moms united, hearts aligned. Defending truth, they will not blind. Children's voices light the sky. They're the reason, they're the why. Born to blaze in the northern snow. Wisconsin roots, watch her grow. Constitution's ink on her soul. Patriot mind control. No, she don't bend, she don't fade. Faith and family foundations laid. From freedom halls to every school, she's the queen who rewrites rule. Every scarlet rising through the storm and smoke. The voice of reason, every chain she broke. Liberty beats in her chest so wild. A freedom queen, a mother style. Crimson lights, Republican gold. This is the story the future told. Scarlet's flame, unbreakable, free. Mom for liberty, eternally. Mom for liberty, eternally. Red flame shining bright. Scarlet's name, liberty's light, forever fight. Every scarlet
You remember this letter you wrote to the president and Melania? My name is Brooklyn Rivera. I live in Rochester, Massachusetts. I need your help. I was
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unleashed with me, Scarlett Johnson, presented by Moms for Liberty. And today I have got a really shocking and sad story to share. And but it's something that I think the world needs to know about, because when they say it's not happening, they're lying. It is happening. A 9-year-old girl at the Rochester Memorial School in Massachusetts was in a girl's bathroom stall on May 1st of this year. A biological male student who identifies as trans, a boy that's identifying as a girl, looked through the stall and then pretended to leave, and then opened the door and basically watched a 9-year-old girl going to the bathroom. She was half undressed. Watched her go to the bathroom. She was frightened. She was scared. She screamed. The boy leaves. She gets dressed. She runs out of the bathroom to her teacher. She's in 3rd grade, crying, obviously distraught. Imagine, I have 4 daughters. This would be horrifying for them. What happens next is really quite shocking. So I'm going to start by playing a video of her father, Louis, talking to the school board after this incident. So let's just bring this on right now.
Good evening. Thank you, Chair. Thank you. My name is Louis Rivera. I'm a resident here at Rochester, taxpayer for 16 years. I am here tonight asking the board for a full and thorough investigation into an incident that occurred on Friday involving my 9-year-old daughter here at the school with a transgender boy. While my daughter was using the restroom at the school, a transgender boy that is biologically intact entered the restroom, was looking through the cracks of her stall while she was inside, then proceeded to push his way into the stall despite knowing that she was in there. My daughter was humiliated, embarrassed, frightened, and left feeling completely violated, while sitting defenseless in what should have been a private and safe moment for any child. I want to make something very clear from the beginning. This is not about attacking anyone's identity. This is not about politics. This is about my daughter's right to privacy, dignity, safety. Every student deserves to feel protected while at school, especially in a vulnerable place like a restroom. Whether you define this behavior as harassment, intimidation, bullying, or voyeuristic conduct, my daughter's personal boundaries were violated. And in many situations outside the school environment, this type of conduct would have carried serious consequences. Yet, instead of feeling supported afterward, our family felt dismissed and ignored. What made the situation even more upsetting is the administration's response or lack of response. Despite multiple emails to both the principal and superintendent, what we received felt more like an attempt to minimize the seriousness of this incident and then to generally address it. My daughter, who's only 9 years old, was spoken to about laws and policies without her parents being there, like she has some law degree. Somehow, that outweighed the emotional trauma she was experiencing. She was told to use the single restroom if she felt uncomfortable. So she went from the victim to being the perpetrator here. At that moment, my child did not need a lecture about policy. She needed compassion, she needed reassurance, she needed adults in position of authority to make her feel safe and protected. Since then, the emotional impact on her has only grown worse. She has reported being taunted and labeled a tattletale by this individual. They have been isolating her simply for speaking up and defending herself. She has gone home sick from the school this week, and the stress and anxiety are affecting her physically. She is not eating normally, and every morning she worries and stresses about going to school in the morning. What is also deeply concerning is the inconsistency of how this matter has been addressed. Earlier this week, I was told that the boys should not be using the girls' restroom. Now we're hearing a different explanation entirely. That inconsistently creates confusion, frustration, and a lack of trust for parents who simply want clear answers and accountability. We even requested something simple as having the student escorted by a monitor while these two used the bathroom, and we were blatantly denied. At the end of the day, the behavioral expectation and discipline should apply equally for every student, male, boy, or transgender. The discipline should be the same for either one of them. I am asking this board tonight to please take this matter seriously. Conduct a proper investigation. Review how this incident was handled from the start to finish to ensure the appropriate disciplinary action is taken where necessary to make sure no other child has to experience what my daughter has experienced with this transgender boy. I think that the community should know that if it is a law that a boy that is biologically intact can use the restroom with females, I think everybody should know this, because if I would have known this, I would have never been caught off guard, and I would have told my daughter from the beginning to stay over there. Her innocence was violated in this situation, and I feel like it's getting brushed off. And I would like, I want an investigation on this, because it's not fair to her. I got to go home and deal with her now. So I ask the board if they can do what they can to try to get this rectified, because this is outrageous. It shouldn't be, and it shouldn't be happening. Thank you very much.
Wow, I have a lot of questions for Dad Lewis about what's happening, but I just want everyone to understand this is not a story about one bad day at one school. This is a story about what a school district does when a parent will not go away, when a little girl won't just take it, won't just comply. This is a story about a small community and a school district that is more committed to affirming a child's gender rather than the safety of a little girl. And we know that gender identity isn't a real thing. And now we know definitively, because the Supreme Court has said so on June 30th, that gender identity is not covered under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. However, what is covered under Title IX is for school districts to be sure to protect safety, the dignity, and the well-being of girls in schools. That we know for sure. However, schools are not doing their due diligence, nor are they doing their job in protecting kids. So to talk about this more, I'm going to bring on this little girl's dad, Lewis. Oh, sorry. Made my first mistake there.
That's okay.
Hi, Lewis. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Scarlett, for having me. I appreciate it.
That was a very emotional speech. I've spoken before my school board many times, but never on a topic quite so heavy as this. I think you did a really good job keeping it together, because you must have felt very emotional. But let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about you and your family, where you live, and how you got to this point.
Sure. Yeah. So I live here in a small rural town of Rochester. It's part of a tri-town community. Since it's so small, they're all intertwined with two other towns. This town that I live in, it's approximately about 5,800 maybe residents or so. I've been here 16, going on 17 years now. I've established my roots here, got married, and I started raising my family here. And my children have been active in the community with Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. I'm a coach for my son. I have a 10-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter. Very active in the community, small conservative-ish town. We have like 2 stop signs, no street lights. So you could picture it that way. A lot of farmland. And my daughter and my son go to the local elementary school, which is the Rochester Memorial School for this town area. There are 3 other elementary schools in the tri-town. And things just seem to be normal, right? Until you see and you hear about this stuff in other states, and I watch the news all the time. I try to stay on it, but you never think it's happening in your own backyard, and until it affects you. I never thought I'd be the one, or my daughter would have been the sacrificial lamb for this story here in this town. But that's what it happened on May 1st. Let's go back a year prior to this. This boy has been in the school, and I'm going to say a boy because he's a biological boy, even though the administration refers to him as she in all their reports. They try ushering my daughter on a field trip to see the Mayflower down the road here in Plymouth into a bathroom, and my daughter came running out and told the teacher, "I am not going in there with the boy." I called on that issue immediately that afternoon when she got home, and she told me, and the principal said, "Well, I wasn't there, so I don't know, but I will look into it." Never heard anything else back again. Left it as is. Almost a year to the date, May 1st, my daughter was using the restroom in the girls' room. She's a biological girl. And this individual apparently came into the restroom, and according to the witness, because there is also a witness to this, he was there washing his hands, and he had the conversation with the other student that, look, there's somebody in the stall, because they can see her feet. And also in the report, he also tells the principal that he's seen a blue sweatshirt. So he knew that there was someone in there, and proceeded to go and peep through the crack of the stall. Whether malicious, sexual, or whatever he had on mind is beyond me. And my daughter says, "Who's that? Stop it." And he was giggling, and he acted like he was going to leave the bathroom, opens the door, lets it close, so my daughter thinks that he had left the bathroom, proceeded to come back in, and started looking through the stall again. And when my daughter yelled, "Stop!" and she got up to pull up, he pushed the door open on her. And according to my daughter, he stared at her, because in a situation like that, his eyes went straight to her lower body. In the report, he says that he didn't, but I believe what my daughter says. If you know my daughter, she's introvert. She has a little social, very quiet. She's like a butterfly. Never had a problem. Never, never, never. And it's not because she's my daughter. That's just her character. That's just the way she is. And she ran back to the classroom, and even the teacher asked her, "What's the matter?" She's crying. Her eyes are red. And she says, "I miss my daddy and my mommy." And that was a way that she reaches out, because she couldn't verbally explain what happened to her just now. She was embarrassed. Her privacy was violated to the max. And I guess she spent most of the afternoon crying, because when she got home, her eyes were swollen. She's very fair skinned. So you could tell right away when she got home her eyes, and we started questioning her, and she revealed to us what had happened. And we got on the phone immediately. The bus got here at 3:30, 3:45. We were trying to get a hold of the principal. And what happens with this school administration, whenever there is any kind of problem or you want answers for anything, you call the school and they have the school secretary screens everything. What is this about? What do you need? And it's really none of their concern. They just need to be transferred over to the principal. And she goes, well, she's on the other line. And I said, it's of urgency and I need to speak with her. She goes, she's on the other line. As soon as she's done, I will have her give you a call. Nothing at all. The weekend goes by. My daughter's distraught. You can tell right away she shut down internally. She didn't really want to eat. She was nervous. Come Monday to get her to school, it was almost impossible. We got her off to school that day, and my wife started on the phone, and we talked, and we finally got a hold of the principal. And she said, absolutely not. No boy should be inside the bathroom with her. I am going to look into this. That same afternoon, we get a call from the school nurse. My daughter was so sick, she had to leave school. My wife left work and picked her up and brought her home. And it was her nerves and her anxiety that was still affecting her. Come Tuesday, she sends us an email with a little link with some suggestive idea or law that they're hiding behind that says that the child has legal allowance to use the restroom. So something happened between Monday and Tuesday.
Real quick, so I just want to, so the principal told you
On Monday,
that
which
there's
was the 3rd.
no boys in the girls' bathroom. So
Yes.
I'm going to look into this. So
Yes.
that tells me, because I've seen situations like this, where the principal is unaware of the policies.
Exactly.
It's the assumption, like, of course, boys shouldn't be in girls' bathrooms.
Right.
So she obviously goes to talk to someone. Probably they have legal counsel. Every school district does. And she tells them what's happened. And then she hears, oh, no, hold off. There is policy, probably in their non-discrimination policy, that says that if there is a student that identifies as transgender, that they can use the facilities to which they identify.
Exactly.
Now, yeah, and usually that, like, sometimes there should be a plan. It's called a gender support plan. Have you heard about anything like that? Did this student have a gender support plan?
Not at all. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. Nothing has come up. It wasn't in any of the reports. They totally shut me down after that. And that's when I began my campaign. It just happens to be that on the 7th of the following week, there was a school committee meeting, and I was like, well, I need to go and address this. I need to address this publicly, and I need to get answers from somebody because this is not okay. The following, on that Tuesday, the next day of the Monday, when my daughter, I finally got her back to school, and this was her, I had to drive her to school and assure her that she was going to be okay. And if she didn't feel comfortable, go to the nurse, because the nurse is she's a real nice lady. She's a good friend of mine, and she will call me and I will come and get you. I promise you, but you need to get to school. That day, when the principal went to her to ask her about the situation, about what happened, she started quoting her these laws. Well, she said when it should be he has legal allowance by the state of Massachusetts to use the bathroom. My daughter does not have a law degree. She has no idea. My daughter comes home that afternoon. She goes, Daddy, what's legal allowance? I said, what do you mean? I said, I didn't even know what it was. And I said, well, she said, the principal told me that this individual has legal allowance. And I had to look it up, and I was like, oh, now I see where we're going with this. And the snowball just started going from there. Now I see where their stance was and where this was going to go.
So they pulled your daughter aside.
Yes.
And the principal pulled your daughter aside without you or your wife present.
No parental, no legal,
And
nobody there to represent her.
she's a third grader. She's 9 years
Yep.
old. They
9 years
pull
old.
aside and they
Mhm.
start to tell her about school board.
Yes.
They don't call you. I mean, that's that
no.
right there. That I mean,
Yeah.
I want to clip this. This is going to definitely be a clip.
Yes.
The principal, the elementary school principal, rather than having a meeting with just the two of you, you and your wife, to
Right.
explain everything so that you can make some decisions.
Right. She
So
pulls
they
her out.
make some choices.
Yeah, so they had the principal pulled my daughter from the classroom to investigate, quote, about what happened, and she quoted her this policy or this law that they've managed to twist in their favor, saying that this child has legal allowance. What happened between Monday and Tuesday? I think she someone must have told her. She either went to the superintendent or spoke to council to find out what was going on, and the next day she had changed her mind and her stance on if the male should have been in the bathroom, and they've stuck to their guns ever since.
So I'm going to put on stage, this is one of the emails between your wife and the principal. And your wife is just saying that she's left a message with the secretary. There's several messages going back and forth between yourself, your wife, and the principal, wanting to know what's happening, and good that you create a paper trail by using an email.
Yeah.
We spoke this morning about a male student using the girls' bathroom. That was the third incident.
Yep.
My daughter told me she saw you speaking with that male student this morning. The same male student was using the girls' bathroom again. He has now been spoken to 3 times and it's not working, and no female should have to deal with this.
Yeah.
And then just detailing this is unacceptable behavior, and you are CCing the superintendent. So you guys, you've been told you're dealing that, hey, we're dealing with the situation. We've got it under control. This shouldn't be happening,
Right.
but it keeps happening. And
Exactly.
it seems like that it wasn't, this is not the first incident that happened to your daughter, because you said a year ago it happened at a field trip, but now it was happening in succession at the school.
Yes, there was another incident that was spoken about. He slid underneath the stall, and then another incident that he climbed over a stall. They said it was empty, so they say this was all from witness testimony. That's on the Title IX investigation report, and they continue to try to downplay it like it doesn't exist. The principal, since it was a verbal communication that we had about the no boy should be in the girls' bathroom, she's blatantly denying it now. She lied on the report. It's unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. This should not happen. And the people that we entrust with our children for 6 hours a day, we expect them to uphold their duties. We put these people in place. We vote them in. The school committee brings them in. They're supposed to protect our children for the hours that we're not there with them. We expect them to treat them as they were their own.
Yes. And they're not. And I'm pulling up another email that is from your principal. And I'm going to bring that on just a second. Okay, here this is. This is from the principal using he, her, hers pronouns. And here's where she says, I spoke to Brooklyn to get her side of the story. So again, is this the incident where she's talking to your daughter without you present?
Exactly.
And she says, I let her know that she can use a single stall bathroom if she feels uncomfortable.
Yes.
And she put a plan in place to ensure that the staff are aware of the plan. So she pulls your 9-year-old third grader in and presents her with their safety plan without you present, without parents present. She gets the safety plan to a 9-year-old talking to her as if she's an adult, using legal language, explaining a policy that clearly she did not even understand until a few days, until this incident. Even the principal didn't know the policy. And now she's explaining to a 9-year-old third grader the policy. And,
Correct.
and do they even follow this policy?
Excuse me?
They didn't even follow this
No.
plan, did
No, not at all. Like I said, 2 hours later, this individual was running in and out of bathrooms, and he's allowed to use the boys' or the girls' bathroom, whatever he feels like he is for the day. That's sad.
It
That
is
is
sad.
sad.
My friend, 7-year-old Ella Fry, made this exact comment to me just a few days ago. She said, it's like the Wild West. She said, the boys can go anywhere they want. They can go to the boys' bathroom, the girls' bathroom. They can be in the girls' locker room, the boys' locker room. She's like, essentially, for girls in K through 12 schools with policies like this, they have no bathroom. There is no
Right.
privacy. They
Right.
have nowhere to go to feel safe.
Right.
It's just thrown open the doors of all these private spaces for girls and said, it's a free for all.
Exactly. And when she did this safety plan, and she's did a blast email throughout the school to all the employees of the school, I said, okay, now not only you're adding insult to injury, you're embarrassing her, because now you told everybody instead of just fixing the issue with the individual, everybody knows this happened to Brooklyn now. Now you're embarrassing her on top. She's already emotionally distraught. Why, why are we doing this? Like, why?
Yeah, I have it in front of me. I have the
Yep.
safety plan. Yeah, and all the staff, it's sent to all the staff. She'll have an access, a check-in with a safe, supportive adult when requested. A single bathroom. She can use the nurse's bathroom. I mean, this is
Scarlett,
the same.
should a child be worried about who she needs to tell to go to the bathroom, or should they be working on their academics and enjoying their childhood and having a good time with their friends in art and recess and in the lunchroom, not having to worry, who am I going to talk to next so I could use the restroom because I feel like I have to use the restroom and I can't find an adult? A child should not be worried about that.
No, they shouldn't. Going to the bathroom, they have made going to the bathroom, it's like a UN treaty. I
Yeah.
need to use the bathroom. So now we have to start the process of going to the bathroom. She's 9 years old. She's in 3rd grade. Lots of times kids, I have had 5 of them, they'll hold it for a long time, and they're not going to sit and contemplate, oh, now I have to use the bathroom. And now I have to try to contact a safe, supportive adult to tell them I need to use the bathroom. And then what's the teacher supposed to do? What if it happens? Stop the class. I have to go walk your daughter, walk Brooklyn to the bathroom, and everyone knows what's happening.
Right.
I have to monitor her, or I have to call someone that's going to come and take her to the bathroom, another female. This is absurd. When all they have to do is tell the boy to use the boys' bathroom, or tell the boy to use a single stall bathroom.
Correct. When I actually, I didn't tell you about this. We had went in to speak to her about therapy, about getting her therapy bridged over to the school. And I sat in front of the principal and I said, so what is the plan for next year? She goes, well, we have a walkie-talkie for this person and a walkie-talkie for... I said, are you kidding me right now? Who's going to keep track of this? Is everybody going to be on walkie-talkies instead of teaching the class? It's just insane.
It's insane. The bathroom walkie-talkies. There's a girl
they're going to have...
the bathroom.
Yeah. I'm laughing about it, but it really upset me at that point that these educated adults, this is their plan. When there was a simple solution. The simplest solution that I gave was just to have a monitor. It wouldn't have cost the school system that much money to clear the bathrooms before and after, both with this individual or the girl. And not even that, he should not be in there.
Yes, the real solution, especially I think after the June 30th decision, and I know it was applicable to sports, but the real question was about the Equal Protection Clause and does it apply to gender identity? And
Right.
on a 6-3 vote, the Supreme Court said, no, it doesn't.
Exactly.
That gender identity is not, it's not the same as the Equal Protection Clause covers immutable characteristics like biological sex, like your race. Those things were covered, but not gender identity. That was very, very clear. That was the 6-3 part.
Yeah, Clarence. Yeah, Clarence said it perfectly.
Yes, yes, and that gender confusion, gender dysphoria, that is a mental illness that cannot be treated by Title IX.
Exactly.
And that girls' spaces, and Justice Kavanaugh, who wrote the majority opinion, made it very clear that when it came to sports, there were biological differences that made it inherent that girls should have separate sports, separate categories, just to be fair. And I think in bathrooms, there are biological differences that make it clear that girls should have separate spaces from males, especially when let's all just be real, it's more likely that a girl is going to be assaulted and face sexual harassment in a private room that's shut off if males are allowed to enter, then boys would be afraid of girls. I have heard there are oftentimes there are girls that identify as boys. They don't use the boys' bathroom. Why?
No.
Because they're afraid.
Right.
Because they're afraid. They don't want to be alone. Even these girls that are suffering from this gender dysphoria, even they know, even if they identify as boys, they don't want to be with the boys.
Exactly.
Girls don't want to be in these spaces with boys. It's part of, I think it's an instinct, an evolutionary instinct that was put there for a reason.
Correct.
For a reason.
Yeah.
And we should be protecting girls, but we should also be protecting reality. Because to me, this isn't just about protecting girls. It's about our language. It's about reality. It's about actual science. And when we compromise truth at this level in government and schools, that is a recipe for disaster. It's a civilizational problem, and it leads to the end of, I believe, Western civilization. So it's a bigger issue. But I think in this case, the fact that you say that there's a plan for next year where there's walkie-talkies, there's all of this, and there's just a refusal to face the truth. Now, you said you live in a small area, rural. How many school board members do you have in your area?
There are 5 on this school board. There are 3 or 4 in the other town, and 3 or 4 in the other town, which make the whole. And there's 1 superintendent. And if you noticed, I haven't sent you any emails from the superintendent because he's been quiet. He kicks the can down. He doesn't want no publicity on this. He's letting everybody else hang from a noose when he is the top guy that Alicia say, let's get something done so we can put this to rest. I sent him an email last month and I said, Mr. Nelson, I said, I would love to have a conversation with you, just one-on-one, on or off the record. Doesn't make a difference. I said, I think we could come to a resolution so we can put this away, put this to bed. The community is in an uproar. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You know, I coached his son and I told him, I said, you're a father. You need to understand where I'm coming from. If you look at the Tri-Town School Committee, I told him at the end, I said, you're a dad. You know, you need to understand how I feel about this. How can you just sit there, not even emotionless? It's so frustrating.
And how many students are in the school?
There's probably about 300 to 350 in this school.
Okay. So what and I pulled up the policy, what they're talking about. There's and this happens a lot, even when there's not a specific bathroom policy. There is a school board policy, in this case, in yours, a policy against discrimination, harassment, updated. And in that policy, I'm going to bring it, anti-discrimination the categories in which discrimination is prohibited include gender identity or expression, including transgender and gender expansive students. Just that simple statement, that simple policy can be and is interpreted by lawyers that work for school districts to mean that if a student identifies as transgender, that it is discrimination to prohibit them from using the bathroom, locker room, or participating on an athletic team of their choice, of the identity that they hold.
Correct.
However, these policies are in direct violation of President Trump's executive orders on the guidance offered by Linda McMahon and the Secretary of Education, and the interpretation, the legal interpretation under federal law by Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon. She is the Attorney General of the Office of Civil Rights. And you add that the Supreme Court of the United States has said that gender identity is not covered under the 14th Amendment, and that is anti-discrimination law. So there is the ability of a school district to reverse this policy. They can reverse this policy.
Sure.
If you have a school board that's saying they can remove this policy, they can cite everything that I said, and yeah, they might risk a lawsuit, but they're going to risk a lawsuit either way.
Right.
There's going to be
Correct.
parents like myself that are going to say, you are violating my daughter's Title IX rights.
Yeah.
And
But
I believe in this situation.
we are the majority.
Yeah.
We are the majority. So the majority always rules in any situation. It's the majority rules.
I think that this situation requires, and I know that there has been a Title IX complaint filed, but I believe that this situation is one in which the Trump administration, the Department of Education, and the Office of Civil Rights should initiate a formal investigation to look into what happened, particularly as they violated, I believe, and this is just my opinion, it's not legal advice, that they violated FERPA by engaging in these conversations with your daughter without the presence of the parents, that minors can't make these kinds of decisions. They made a lot of missteps, and I would imagine they're being very quiet right now because they made a lot of missteps that once investigated, I think that they could find themselves in some trouble.
Yeah, the whole administration is they're tainted. We can spend hours. I can keep giving you stuff here between guidance counselors, principals, the committees. They try to write policies, and there's a subcommittee in the other two towns. And if they don't like the policy, it never makes it to public forum. Nobody gets to see it. If the individuals over there doesn't like the policy, it gets thrown in the trash. Nobody gets to see it. And I know one person that has been trying to fight for this, and it's like it's like 70-30. Like the board is against him. So I need to dismantle the whole school committee and get people in there that will help try to write policies to help protect these children. But if I do that, and these subcommittee that they keep sending these policies and they shoot it down, I'm going to have to do a campaign over there too to get those people removed. And I will continue to do that. I will continue to fight. I will continue to advocate. I promised my daughter and I promised the community the very first meeting that I'm going to stand up for her and all her peers. Those are her friends. Those are the girls that she goes to Girl Scouts with. Those are the girls that she plays at the playground when my son is playing baseball. These are her friends, and I don't want to see any of them get hurt like this. They shouldn't have to go through this.
What you're saying, if people don't understand that policies are written in committees, and it's the same.
Yes.
At school board level, at the state level, the federal level. And if a policy doesn't get out of committee, it doesn't get to the floor to get voted on. So if a policy can't even get out of committee on a school board, then it can't come up for a vote. So you have at least one school board member who is willing to tackle this, but he can't even get these policies out of committee.
Nowhere.
And the only way, and the public is not invited usually to attend these. These are all closed door sessions. So there's no way, unless you do open records requests, for
Right.
you to find out what happened in that committee, and a lot of that will get redacted. So you'll end up getting just this big redacted document because everything will be covered. It's very difficult unless, of course, there is a Title IX investigation by the federal government, and then it's all opened up. It's all open to everyone, everything that happened.
But when you have the majority of the school committee that are posting social media, making nasty comments about what I'm fighting for and against what I'm fighting for, I've got a battle ahead of me, but I am not quitting. The remarks that they make on social media is
Say more
disgusting.
about that. That's something I hadn't heard before. So
Yeah.
what's happening?
So we just had an election last year, and one that was an incumbent, she came on and she made a post on social media that if things were to happen in town, I wouldn't take it publicly like some people do. Small thing. She ran her campaign on that. I know who she is, but she'll sway either way or the other, depending on which way it leans. So she's a follower. The next one that came in, very nasty. She stood up at the second school board meeting, and I sent you that video. She stood up there and she pulled out the Title IX report and started tearing it apart, telling the community this is a gay bashing political agenda, just very nasty. And the second person that spoke after, if you watch the video, he's the head of the Democratic committee. He's a psychologist with master degrees and all this education. And he's standing up there saying that at the age of 3 years old, a child could tell whether they want to be a boy or a girl. I want to know, who is this guy? Who are his patients? Who are his clients? You have to watch the video because it's amazing. He tells you all the degrees that he has. He's a master psychologist, but yet he's telling us that at the age of 3 years old, a child should be able to identify if they want to be a boy or a girl. How is that?
Okay, so I have this school board meeting, so we're going to watch a portion of this. I'll start that right now.
I'm Michael Kovacevic. I'm a dual master's degree psychologist, school guidance counselor who has worked with students in public schools and private alternative schools for 38 years. I spent the last 29 years of my career working with students in middle and elementary school. I'm a licensed mental health counselor in Massachusetts. My youngest child went through RMS and had a wonderful experience. I strongly support the staff and administration of RMS. In my career as a public school counselor, I spent many hours with administrators, students, and parents addressing students who made poor choices. One of the things that I learned quickly is that there are two sides to every story, and context matters when trying to assign responsibility and formulate a disciplinary response to inappropriate behavior for all those involved. The focus where I worked was to always assist students to learn from their mistakes while maintaining their privacy. I see the administration of RMS functioning the same appropriate way in the matter of what has now become a one-sided public media takedown of RMS, and most sadly, the student publicly accused of harassment. I've been very upset about what I have seen and heard online, in podcasts, and on AM radio concerning the behavior that occurred in the girls' bathroom in RMS. First and foremost, we only have one side of the story presented by an upset parent. Context matters. We also have a group of people speculating, then amplifying speculation until it seems like it's a fact on what happened in the bathroom. The event has been inappropriately turned into a political and campaign tool. The family on the other side of this issue has been scapegoated on social media and is literally being driven out of town. The school was following the law as it stands in Massachusetts, providing access to girls' bathroom to gender non-conforming children. I ask you, have you ever gotten to know a gender non-conforming child, young adult or adult? You may be a person who thinks it's a choice, and how they identify can be driven out of them. I'm here to tell you that as a counselor, I have met and worked with many wonderful non-conforming students who need support in navigating a society that does not understand them and thinks they can simply be coerced into binary conformity. I'm here to tell you that indeed children as young as 4 years old display their nonconformity. Not recognizing them and providing support leaves this vulnerable population subject to depression and suicide. I worked with a student in the early 90s whose family could not bring itself to accept their non-conforming son's gender identity.
Michael?
From a very early age, it was clear that the child was not conforming to his biological assignment. The father pushed.
Time has elapsed.
Could you repeat that? I heard you. I just, so I will sit at this point. Thank you.
No sign-ups on Zoom at the moment. Next, in-person sign-up is Deborah Tolstanov.
Hello. I'm Deborah Tolstanov. I live in Rochester. Okay. I'm speaking today because I believe that all students and families deserve to be treated with care and respect in our community and in our schools, and have their privacy rights respected regardless of who they are. Every parent sends their best child to school. This quote speaks to all children being precious to their families with all their differences, and that the school will work with each child as they are without judgment. As parents, none of us are immune to facing challenging issues with our kids. We rely on the care and compassion of school professionals to address issues when they arise with discretion and sensitivity, fairness and respect. Most of us would be horrified to have a story about our child's issues spread all over town. I am disheartened that members of our community did just that and engaged in a smear campaign against a 9-year-old student, their family, and our school, fueled by misinformation, conjecture, and prejudice against gender nonconformity. The incident was blasted across multimedia platforms with many twists and turns to fit their political narrative, referring to a bathroom incident between two 9-year-olds as sexual harassment, and demonizing the school officials for the way this was handled. This is shameful and ignorant, and it serves to undermine the integrity of our residents and our school community. For the record, 9-year-olds are not sexually motivated, regardless of their gender identity. In addition, this incident was used as a campaign strategy in the recent town school committee election, using signage reading "concerns for our school" on voting day as one example. The irony here is shocking that a school committee candidate and their supporters would actively promote a prejudicial misinformation campaign and ultimately an attack on a child, their family, and the school. All of this is an effort to serve on the school board. This makes no sense. Rights don't discriminate. They are for everyone with all different lifestyles and values. Using vulnerable children and hateful rhetoric to promote a political agenda causes real hurt to real people and erodes our community.
Ms. Wilcox, anyone on Zoom?
Next up in person, we have Luis Rivera.
My name is Luis Rivera, and I'm a resident here in Rochester. Thank you, administration, thank you, school committee, and thank you, members of the community, for allowing me to speak today. 30 days ago, I stood in this very room and spoke from the heart about an incident involving my daughter on May 1st, when a boy entered the restroom, was peering through the stall, knowing that she was in there, and decided it was okay to push her through the door and stare at her. I came here respectfully with one goal: to ensure that what happened to my daughter would be taken seriously and that meaningful action would follow. Instead, after weeks, I was forced to file a Title IX complaint before any action was taken. It should not take weeks for a family to receive answers when a child has been affected like this. At the last meeting, I asked for transparency. I asked the parents to be clearly informed, for the parents to be clearly informed about the policies and laws governing restroom access, so they could have informative conversations with their own children. Instead, the information was buried in a brief small newsletter from the principal that families likely never saw. What disappoints me the most is that we have missed the opportunities for meaningful dialogue. This matter was not placed on the agenda, and as a result, we have not had a public discussion this community deserves. We could have talked about strengthening student privacy, improving procedure, and preventing situations like this from happening again. Let me be clear, and I said it last month, this is not about politics. This is not about Democrats, Republican, religion, race, left, right, red or blue. It's not about hostility towards any group of people. This is about the safety and privacy and well-being of all of our children. My daughter's experience matters. The experience of every child in this district matters. The current measures put in place is not a long-term solution. Sending students to the restroom one at a time may address the immediate concerns, but it does not solve the broader problem. We need thoughtful, fair, and effective policies that protect all students, not punishing the whole class. My concerns extend far beyond my daughter. There are thousands of female students in this district, and the decision made today will affect them for years to come. We have the obligation to ensure that every child feels safe and protected. As a father, it's heartbreaking to watch my daughter relive that experience through investigations and interviews. Every time she has to tell her story over, it crushes me on the inside. But it also strengthens my resolve to seek answers and advocate for her. You have the authority right here to lead, review the policies, engage the community, consider solutions that worked in other districts in this great Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I will continue to advocate for my daughter and for every little girl whose concerns deserves to be heard. I stand before you emotionally exhausted behind this, but I'm determined. My daughter has a name and a face, and I am her voice, though. I will continue to use this voice until meaningful changes occur. Thank you for your time.
So give us your thoughts as you watch what happened. And this just happened in June, right?
Yeah, this happened in June. We had the biggest turnout this town has ever seen for a school committee meeting. There was literally there was standing room. They didn't really span around, but they had to get chairs from other classrooms. They should have just moved it over to the cafeteria, to the auditorium. There was another lady that spoke, and I think it was after me, which was one of the newly elected school committee members that tried to tear apart my Title IX investigation. She was just elected, and the stuff that came out of her mouth should not be from a person that's put into a position that's supposed to protect our children. It was terrible. And you heard the gentleman with the many degrees on his beliefs. And the video goes on, and you hear some empathetic stories of parents that just moved into town and now they regret sending their children to the school. The people are aware. They're starting to listen. And that wasn't the last one. I went to another school committee meeting wherever I get a chance to. They refused to put me on the agenda. They could have put me on the agenda at first. Now they're hiding behind, since it's an ongoing case. So I could only speak at public comment, but I will speak at every public comment until this is resolved.
Yeah. So yeah, that's your only chance. Public comment is your chance to say something and have it recorded, so that right now sunlight is the best disinfectant. When you are in deep blue areas, deep blue states, even though your area is not, clearly those that are running for school board are going to be supported by teachers unions. The candidates are oftentimes asked to run by superintendents. The teachers unions find candidates, they field them, they fund them, and that's what Moms for Liberty. We're a small grassroots organization. We have big numbers, but we don't have the budgets of teachers unions, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yes.
But they see us as such competition, and they go after us all the time because we're just simply trying to start to do what they've been doing for a long time.
Mhm.
They say it's not political, but when the NEA, when Randy Weingarten, when they have their big events over the summer, and this has been reported extensively, particularly by Corey DeAngelis, when they have their big events, they say teaching is political. This is all political. And it's basically a very long 3-day anti-Trump, pro-trans agenda, pro-DEI convention, lots of Marxists. They're blatantly Marxist, supporting Democratic Socialists of America. They focus more on indoctrinating kids than educating kids. You don't talk about reading, writing, math. They talk about ideology. They talk about politics. They talk about ICE. They talk about this transgender ideology, but they don't talk about educating kids. But they accuse you of being political simply because you don't want a boy in your daughter's bathroom. You aren't. That's all that you're asking. You're asking for a safety plan for your daughter. You're even willing to compromises if she could just have someone taking her to the bathroom, there could be some kind of safety plan. But I think at the end of the day, they aren't going to do anything that would be viewed as some sort of capitulation to you, and that would be seen as in any way some sort of denial of this trans agenda. Like they will do anything. They will bend any moral, any principle, any policy. They'll just move heaven and earth in order for a boy pretending to be a girl to feel comfortable, at the expense of actual girls, at the expense of parents, at the expense of the district. It doesn't matter what it costs. They seem to be willing to do it. And that to me seems more like a religious fervor rather than an actual policy. They seem to be religious fanatics.
Correct. They have no ceiling. Somebody said that. They have no ceiling. So they will continue. I was never a very political person. I put my flags out for Memorial Day and 4th of July. But what I noticed when this happened, the people that reached out to me with compassion, with empathy, with support were my people, the Republicans, the conservatives. Not one Democrat said, hey, I'm sorry about what happened to your daughter. Not one liberal came, said, hey, do you need any emotional support? That's how it turned into this big political thing. Like I vote red. I love my president. He's doing a great job, and so be it. But this was not about a political agenda. They're trying to make it look like it's a local political thing. It was nothing like that. It shows the information shows that the people that are helping me out are the Republicans, the conservatives, people that care about our children, care about our country. They don't take the Constitution and try to twist it and turn it like these people are. And it was to a point I said, this stuff has to be, is it contagious? Is this mental disease actually jumping from one person to another? Because they truly believe it. And if that's the truth, then we need to get a vaccine quick, because I don't want to be next to, I don't stand too close to these people. I don't want to catch it. But it's a hard fight.
They try and say there's a strategy, and this is what I've learned. They will demonize Moms for Liberty, MAGA, Trump, Republicans, but Moms for Liberty in particular, as well. If you work with them, you're going political, and they're doing that because they are trying to get you to enter into the ring with both hands tied behind your back, with tape wrapped around your ankles, and with a muzzle. They want to fight you completely defenseless. So they are trying to polarize any resources that a parent could possibly have to fight this woke behemoth. Mm-hmm. So if you're with Moms for Liberty, that's political. They're extremists. If you Trump, you're being political. They are being political. Every ounce of them is political. They have open affiliations with the Democrat Party. If you look through their campaign finance forms, you're going to see that they're going to get donations from Democrats, from unions, and yet they will point the finger at you and say, don't you dare take money from your county Republican Party, because that would be political. So there's just for people to understand, to not fall into that trap. They're trying to make it look like you are being political with education. All you have to do is look at the teachers unions. Like you said, look at their private Facebook pages, their Instagram pages, if you still have them private, public. You'll see that they are extremely political, but the media doesn't cover that. The media is only going to cover you, and it's the bias. And that's why we have to expose this. And Moms for Liberty does that very well, exposing all of this, as do other groups that are we're nonprofit, we're not a PAC, but we work in the field of politics because that's how you can get things done. And the only candidates that we endorse as an organization are school board candidates. And because that's where we think that parents can be real agents of change. So what you're doing is just God's work. It all starts local. It all starts local. When you see what's happening across this country, everyone has to understand that the reason why there's a rise in these DSA candidates, there's a reason why there are young people that are now saying that socialism is preferable to capitalism, that free markets are a thing of the past, that it's better for the government to run everything from utilities to private businesses. The reason why they're attracted to this is because they have been indoctrinated. They don't even know what capitalism is. They have been they hate their country. They are undereducated. They don't read very well, and they don't read primary source documents. They don't understand the Constitution. They only repeat talking points. So the education system hasn't failed in the eyes of teachers unions and Democrats. It is succeeding. It is doing exactly what they had hoped. It's creating for almost illiterate people that will vote and do what they're told.
Exactly.
And once you accept that, and it's hard to believe that, but once you accept that, then you understand a lot. And I don't think that teachers a lot of teachers are complicit in all of this. I don't think that they are thinking, oh, I'm going into education to indoctrinate kids. I think most teachers have good motives. I think even a lot of administrators, like your principal, initially thought, oh yeah, of course boys can't be in the bathroom with girls. But she's got the pronouns. She is part of this ideology. So she has to, at the end of the day, do what she's told, regardless of if it's fair or if it's right. And this is the situation we're in. So we have to be honest about it. And the more that you don't just, the more that, and I see that you're doing that, the more that you don't take it personal when they say you're being political. The more that you see the online attacks and you understand that these are trolls, a lot of times they aren't even in your area, the more that you can withstand what they are going to try to do to you, to get you to be quiet, to shut up, and to comply.
Exactly. And I've responded to a lot of these people. I said, what you're trying to do is create civil unrest in the community, and it should not be about that. At the end of the day, this is about a 9-year-old little girl that is my daughter, that God entrusted me with her to protect her. And that's what I'm doing as a parent. Everything else is secondary. I cannot let this happen to her, and I cannot let this happen to other peers. What happens in the elementary school, the kids are so vulnerable. And this is where they're going now, right? They went through the high schools, they went through the junior high schools. Now they're getting it on the elementary level. The children are like sponges at that age, right? So they go to school and they have a figure of authority, like a teacher or a principal or a guidance counselor. Anything you tell them, they will believe because they know no better. What a better candidate for them to start with this brainwashing or whatever you want to call it. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen on my watch. I just want to keep exposing it. The people, the more information they get, the more they're aware of it, and they need to get out and stand for what is right. This stuff is like cancer. It's eating away slowly but surely, and we need to cut it out. And that is my goal. That is my goal. And until I do not find that my daughter is whole again, I will not stop this campaign. And I even think after that, God has given me the calling to continue to speak out for children, boys and girls, because they need protection. Yes. They're our children. They're our future. What is the next generation going to be like? It's scary. It is very scary.
Yes, and it's boys too. I was just at an event where a mom brought her 2 young boys, and she said, I'm a boy mom, but I'm bringing my boys to this event to save girls' sports, to protect girls' private spaces, to meet Riley Gaines, because I'm teaching them how to be a gentleman, how to respect women, how to treat women. And I would never want them to, I want them to be protectors of women. And I really admire that. That's why I think you should include your boys. I'm so glad to see a dad in this fight, because we need dads. That energy, that male energy, that protective spirit needs to be over our girls, because they're so vulnerable right now. And
Exactly.
I think that the left has done a very good job in basically calling men and dads, brothers, uncles that want to defend women, making them misogynists, when real misogyny is allowing a boy into a girl's space, allowing a boy to take a girl's spot on a team, telling a girl to submit her feelings, to deny her discomfort, and instead to elevate and to promote and to affirm something that isn't true and that actually causes her harm and causes her to lose opportunities. I think that's real misogyny, and they're just engaging in a whole lot of psychological deflection, and I mean, it couldn't be more clear to me that that is the case.
Most definitely. And what about the anti-bullying laws? Does this not apply to that? There was never any conversation about that, right?
Your daughter was bullied. And again, talk about what are the ways your daughter was getting bullied. What were the ways that your daughter was getting bullied that the school did not address?
Yeah, she was isolated. This individual was pulling her friends, and she was sitting at lunch by herself because he was telling all the other students around her that, oh, she's a tattletale, she got me in trouble, or stuff like this, and pulling her away, and she was getting isolated during the whole incident, and she shouldn't have felt that way. And when she comes home and tells me, and she goes, Dad, I sat by myself at the lunch table when there's 50 or 60 other students, that's bullying. And not only that, a week after that was another incident where they had them separated, but in the same classroom, this individual went over to where she was working on a project, stepped all over it, hit her with the trifold poster, and they dismissed it. I said, that is retaliation, that's bullying, and still nothing about that. And if you need all this, I got all the information on that too. I keep a paper trail of everything.
Yes, please send that to me right away. As soon as we get off, I want to see that. So because if the situation were reversed, if she were to go over to that boy and hit him, name call him, I guarantee you she would be suspended, expelled, you'd be called, and this would be hate. In a nanosecond, this would be taken care of. But in reverse, when he is doing that to her, they overlook it because the transgender so-called child is a sacred cow, and they simply do not have the courage to apply the rules fairly. You said it yourself. Do not apply policy fairly. Your child, regardless of the fact that, let's just say that you agree, okay, this boy can identify as a girl and use the bathroom. Does that mean that he can crawl under the stall and watch her go to the bathroom, to look at her private areas, to watch her in periods of undress? No. Girl can't do that either. A little girl can't crawl under and watch another girl. A boy can't watch another boy. They are not applying the rules fairly. This boy, regardless of how he identifies, engaged in sexual harassment and should have been punished for that. And since it's a repeat thing, he actually should probably be expelled for that. And I'm sure your actual policies of your school district, that would be the situation. A Title IX coordinator should have been called. There should have been repercussions. You should know. And rather than having your daughter being the one treated like she's a bad person, it should be that boy that is followed around, that boy that is monitored, and if there was another incident, that boy should not be in the school because he's continually harassing your daughter.
Yeah, I said accountability and discipline has no gender. It should be equal for both. And I also told them I have a 10-year-old son that's in the 5th grade there. And I said, if my son went into the girls' room and did exactly what this student, what do you think would have happened? There would have been the local police department would have been involved. Department of Social Service would have been involved. He would have gotten suspended and he would have been labeled a sex offender. Correct? What makes this any different? Silence.
Yep.
That's all I get is silence. And
You're
it just
exactly
gives me, and it just gives me more drive to continue fighting when they do things like this.
Yeah, in situations like this, the protocol is a Title IX coordinator, a call to the local police, and a
Mhm.
police investigation.
Right.
Social services. It is a very serious thing.
Mhm.
A complaint like this, a sexual harassment in schools is very serious. And like I said last night, if your school district cannot handle sexual harassment among 9 and 10-year-olds, how are you supposed to trust that they can handle it if there were an adult who was harassing children? What if one of their own, what if a staff member is harassing children? If they can't police and monitor even small children, how are they going to, how can they say we can guarantee the protection of your children from adults? And grooming behavior exists every day. There is a news story about a coach, a teacher, an administrator, someone that is in a school district that is engaging in improper behavior with minors entrusted in their care. So I think parents need to question, if they can't deal with this situation, they probably can't deal with a more, an even more serious situation with adults. And
Right.
that should be cause for concern. Even if you are like, if you think, oh, I don't want to get involved. This is too, there's too much angst in the community. You have to consider the fact that even if you don't have kids in the district, this should matter to you because your taxes fund this school system. These are the children in your community. You hope that they grow up and they stay in the community and become the adults in the community. And it should matter to you what's happening. I think there's no excuse for not protecting children. If you are an adult, children are entrusted in your care. The children in your community need protectors, and you need to stand up. Even if you don't have kids in the district, you should be at that school board meeting because you pay taxes, and you should say something.
Exactly. And I try to make the community aware. And some of them will either react, well, my child already went through the school, or vice versa, or I homeschool. It doesn't make a difference. Our taxes every year reflect it. We pay very well in taxes here in this town for the school system. And this is our community. You know, we have to, what about, okay, your children already went through school, but one day they might want to establish roots here in town and raise a family too. If we don't stop it now, what do you think it's going to be like in 20 years from now? It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. So I've been advocating that, and I've been trying to get people to get on board, and you need to stand up. And I've been at every, like I said, every public meeting that I possibly can. I have a lot of backing, but there's that very little fuel with I've taken punches left and right, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
But I'm driven. I am very driven, and I will not stop.
And then in closing, I want to, and we'll have more conversations, but I want to, because I have a video here of what you're doing next. So let's watch this, then you can comment.
Mhm.
This is sign number 310. As you see, I have signs down there that says no boys in the girls' bathroom. This is all because of an incident that happened with my daughter May 1st, where a transgender boy was peeping in on her and decided to push the door open on her. It's been a big controversy in town here. We have about approximately 1,008 homes in this town, and I blanketed 310 with these signs. If she could turn around, you see signs down on the other side over here too. They go far back. No boys in the girls' bathroom. The neighbors down here, down in the next house, they have signs. They have nicknamed this road that goes all the way down. They call it Mega Mile because of all the signs that I have, which I'll bring up into another video. Today I had petitions, filled out petitions to remove all 5 school committee members from the town. I'm not getting any answers. I'm not getting any responses for them. The lack of transparency and the empathy, it's not there. I've been to every school committee meeting that they've had and voiced my opinions. And today I'm holding a drive-through petition, and I'm hoping to get 485 signatures from the 4,800 voters that are in town. So we will see. I'll get more clips and videos as I go down the road. I got some more signs to put on in the yards, and I still got the petitions over here that we're doing. Drive-through at 7 p.m. now, and we're going to wrap it up, and I'm going to get down and put some more signs down into the center of town.
Wow. Okay, so now tell us what you're doing.
Well, I needed to be heard, and I hit a wall, and one day I was just sitting down and I was like, how can I get this attention on this without having to just keep going to these school committee meetings because they're once a month, and I can't get the word out to everybody. So I said, you know what? I said, no boys in the girls' bathroom. That kind of makes sense. No boys in the girls' bathroom. So I ran it by my attorney, and he said it was perfect because I didn't want to put any other wording in there because right away they turn it. People start turning this into a political or a hate group. So it's plain and simple. No boys in the girls' bathroom at RMS, which means Rochester Memorial School. And I have signs that say Rochester Memorial School has failed our female students. And if you see it, I have it on my shirt. I got it on my back. And it's been the campaign of this town. It's all over the place. I ordered 10 signs. I said, let me try 10 signs, and I'll ask a couple of my neighbors. And the next week, I all of a sudden, I'm getting responses. I need a sign. Can I get a sign? Can I get a sign? I went to a local RTC meeting, and I passed out about 60 of them. People wanted signs. So I was like, I got to get everybody centrally located. I can't run around town with signs all over the place. And I was able to get people all in one group. I ran out of signs. People started donating money for me to start buying more signs. They thought the cause was a good cause. And that's where we're at today. I'm up at, like I said, 310 signs. I actually ordered another 100 because the next town over they want me to speak at their RTC meeting. And what I want to do is bring this outside of our community for awareness in the surrounding communities. So I've got no boys in the girls' bathroom at our schools signs, so people could start being proactive. Because if it hasn't happened in your school, or it could be happening and you don't know, or it's gonna happen. So the local towns are asking me to come in and speak. They're publicizing it. The signs, I'll be giving them out. I want to spread this all. I would love the White House to have one of these in front of their front lawn. No boys in the girls' bathrooms at any of our schools. Plain and simple. And the campaign has taken off. It's going like wildfire, so it's spreading. And definitely, I will keep you updated. The people are on board. They're starting to wake up. We need more dads. We need more dads to step up. They are the head of your household. You are the protector of your children. I need you guys to stand. I did all the legwork, but stand behind me, and let's continue to push forward against this administration.
That sounds amazing. And finally, you sent me last night a letter that your daughter wrote. I put this on TikTok. I'm going to.
Don't make me cry.
Okay, but here, let's watch this.
Dear Mr. President and Melania, my name is Brooklyn Rivera. I live in Rochester, Massachusetts. I need your help. You see, I was in the bathroom at my school, and a transgender boy walked in. He started to peek through the stall, and then he pushed my door open. He embarrassed me. I was crying after it happened, but my school did nothing to help me. My mom and dad have been back and forth with the principal. but the school says the boys can go into the bathroom with girls. Now I feel scared to use the girls' bathroom. And the boy didn't get into trouble at all. I go to Rochester Memorial School. I'm in the third grade. I'm 9 years old. If you wanted to call my parents, you could. Any help that you can give me would be great. Thank you. Signed, Brooklyn Rivera.
That's pretty powerful.
And she came to me with that idea, and I told her, I said, honey, you stand up for what you think is right. Don't let anybody tell you any different. If you want to write to president, you can write to president. We will send it, and we will continue sending letters if you need to. Whether he gets it or not, it's okay, but at least you know that you can stand up for what you think is right. And she sat there and wrote that letter, and it tears me. I can't even look at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's so sincere. It's, you know, I think we'll do everything we can to make sure the president sees that letter. I think that that's very brave of her, and this is a terrible ordeal for a third grade girl. I'm so glad that you're fighting. You and your wife are fighting so hard, pushing back, and I hope that the community supports you. And I think this is just the beginning. I know there's more to the story. We want to show that there's a lot more, and we're going to explore what's happening and what happens next. But I think trying to recall, just doing everything that you can to say that I know if it was my daughter, I wouldn't stop. You can't stop. And they could say, people would say, well, I know sometimes you should just homeschool, you should just do this or that, but we've got to fight for these institutions. We have to fight, because even if you remove your daughter, then there's all the other girls that are still there. And without powerful parents like yourself, these schools they're going to just fall so fast. There won't be anything left, any spirit of good to fight the spirit of evil.
Exactly. Yep.
So thank you so much for coming on and telling your story, sharing your daughter's story. We're going to talk again for sure.
Yeah, I have plenty.
And yes, please, and send me that information about the other incidents, because that's the fact that your daughter continued to experience bullying, and you know, this boy is only going to get stronger and bigger because he's a biological male and more intimidating. He's only going to become more of a threat to your daughter and others as he gets bigger and as he enters puberty, and then things, I think, become even more dangerous for girls. And so I really can't believe this is happening in third grade to 9-year-olds.
I can't believe we're having this conversation these days and age, because this is just unheard of. So.
And your daughter has become a target for this kid, and regardless of how he identifies, that behavior is intolerable, and the rules need to apply fairly, and they aren't. And this is why your school district, because they aren't applying the rules fairly, they should be subject to an official Title IX investigation. And you have done everything that you could to address this. You have gone up the chain of command, and your school district just refuses to see reason and to follow the law. So I think you definitely, you need justice, and your daughter needs justice. So.
Right. And when your Christian beliefs have to submit to an idea,
Yes.
Where have we come in society? Where's the moral, ethical, where's the compass in these people? Their moral compass, there is none. So we need to keep the fight, and I hope that it gets all the way up to where it needs to go in Washington, and there's an investigation, because they need it. They need it. They need to come down and take care of these people.
Yes. And Mahmoud v. Taylor, which is another Supreme Court decision just decided last year, reaffirmed the fact that a school district cannot undermine a parent's deeply held religious beliefs.
Oh, they
And
did.
if the school district is doing that, then they are not following the Constitution, and they would be subject to, you know, they need to change. They need to change their policies and adjust what's happening in classrooms, because they are violating all sorts of federal laws.
Right.
And that's my opinion. And that's my opinion. So, and I would think that there would be some very good lawyers out there that would agree with that. So that's another avenue too, that there are some very great pro bono legal firms that I hope would be willing to take your case and pursue this even further. So let's pray. And if you're watching this, pray for Luis Rivera, his family, pray for this school district, and pray for justice. And not only that, do something about it. So contact your congressman, your senators, your state senators and representatives if you live in Massachusetts, or if you live in another state, and say, we need to get laws on the books so that this doesn't happen in my neck of the woods.
Amen.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll
Thank
talk
you.
again.
Thank you.
That was an amazing interview. Learned a lot, and I definitely want to see justice for Brooklyn. Louis and Carrie, thank you so much for sharing your story. And here's what I want everyone to take from this interview. Louis did everything the system tells a parent to do. He called, he emailed, he met with them, he filed a federal complaint, he went to school board meetings, he showed up every school board meeting, he tried to engage the committee, the rights policy, and he took it and took it. And finally, when he sees that the district is pulling his daughter aside without parents there to tell a little 9-year-old third grader all about school board policy, to speak to a young girl without parents present, like she is an adult, explaining why the school board and the school's hands are tied, and a little girl has to go home and ask her parents about what these legal terms mean because she doesn't understand them. All she understands is that there is a boy that is harassing her, bullying her, allegedly, in that school. So if you're sitting at home tonight in the middle of your own version of this, just know you aren't alone. Please reach out to somebody. Reach out to Moms for Liberty, reach out to me, reach out to someone who can help you. And here are some of the things that you should do. First, you should find out whether your district's policy comes from an actual statute, or if it is guidance. Find your school's non-discrimination policy, look it up, find out when it was adopted, and really educate yourself. Talk to school board members who are willing to change that policy. Any school board can change a policy. Local governance of school districts is still intact, and school districts can and should develop policy that is in keeping with federal law, even if they have states, a governor that is telling them that this is their hill to die on, that they're going to fight for gender ideology until their dying breath. You should still stand for truth, and you should look for legal help so that you can do so. Open records, do lots of open records requests to find out what's happening. And if you need help with that, there are organizations like ours. There are legal organizations that will help you. There's Alliance Defending Freedom, Southeastern Legal Foundation. There are several others in Wisconsin. There's the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty. And in Massachusetts, there is a legal firm that was helping Luis and his family. They issued demand letters. They have been vocal on this. The Independent Women's Forum has also written stories about this in May. So there are organizations that you should contact. But I highly suggest you contact Moms for Liberty like Luis did, because we have a unique capability to bring attention and sunlight to issues like this and to help parents and communities fight back. Learn your state's open meetings laws. That's really important. If a board discusses something outside of a posted meeting, most states give you a real complaint. Find out which body actually governs your child's building, and put everything in writing, every request, every reply. Carrie Rivera has an email trail, and that trail is the only reason why things are provable. And it will be helpful as you, next step, issue a title, try to submit a Title IX request, a request for an investigation. That is really important. In this case, there's one father, a town of 5,700 people, a father, a mother, a little girl, and they decided that they weren't just going to be handled. They weren't just going to sit down and be quiet. They were going to do something. They were going to stand up. They were going to stand for their daughter, stand for truth, stand for justice, and stand for girls. That's what we have to do. We have to stand up. We cannot be quiet. We cannot just let these things happen. We can't just say, you know what, this isn't my fight, this isn't my hill. And while you should do everything you can to protect your daughter, you can't just ignore and run away and bury your head. Can't just say, oh, homeschool, oh, pull your kid out. Maybe those things are good options, but you still have to fight. As long as his daughter is in that school, they have standing to fight. They have legal standing to fight. And I'm glad that they are fighting. In a town that small, there aren't a lot of options for parents. There aren't a lot of places that your kid can go to school. And there are towns like this all over America. I am in them all the time. Areas where there isn't a private school option. There's one elementary school. There are more rural areas, a little bit more isolated areas, and there are areas that are more conservative. And so in these areas, when you have these woke school board members and administrators that have graduated these Marxist Department of Education, the education departments in universities and colleges is a real problem. They become Marxist indoctrination camps. They read Paulo Freire. They receive heavy doses of DEI all through their training. And then when they become teachers, all of the professional development is centered around DEI. And so it's while the Trump administration is trying to chip away at the woke industrial complex that hasn't just invaded all areas and institutions of education, it controls them. And taking back that level of institutional power is not something you can do in a year or 2 years. It took a generation or more, some say 2 generations, for the failure of education to be complete. And it's going to take time to unwind. And I do believe that if we do things right, we can see some real positive changes in the upcoming years. And we're starting to see some of that, but this is a marathon, not a sprint. So we've got to continue to be joyful warriors and continue to fight. As parents, we know that fighting for our children does not stop at the classroom door. It means supporting organizations and businesses that stand for faith, for freedom, for the Constitution, and for our children. That's why we are proud to partner with Patriot Mobile, America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. You'll get reliable nationwide coverage, 100% US-based service. That means you're actually going to understand the customer service representatives that you talk to. And you'll have the peace of mind knowing that your phone bill helps support organizations that are fighting for our constitutional freedoms, that are fighting for our values, that are fighting for our children. Visit patriotmobile.com/M4L. And I'm going to put that up right here. Look at patriotmobile.com/M4L, or call Patriot Mobile at this number, 972-PATRIOT, and check them out. See what they have to offer. I think they have a lot of great services, and their coverage is just as good, if not better, as some of those big providers who are very woke. Type in the promo code M4L and you'll receive a free month of service. That's pretty amazing. So make the switch today to Patriot Mobile.
Some wireless companies say that they stand for something. What exactly do they stand for, and why won't they say it out loud? Let me tell you what Patriot... Some wireless companies say that they stand for something. What exactly do they stand for, and why won't they say it out loud? Let me tell you what Patriot Mobile stands for. They stand for the lives of the unborn. They stand for the Second Amendment and the right to protect yourself and your family. They stand for our veterans and first responders who sacrifice so much for our freedom. Make the switch to Patriot Mobile today and support a company that doesn't just say they stand for something, but one that stands for the things that matter the most.
Hello and welcome to Unleashed with me, Scarlett Johnson. And today we're going to talk about a story that is very important, and it's been going viral for the last week since I first reported on it. I just aired our first podcast on Monday, and we've had well over 100,000 views, even though there was some technical difficulties uploading it and getting it to run. I swear that I feel like it was almost a spiritual battle just to get this story told. I aired this father's school board speech on TikTok, and it was banned and kicked off, and I'm appealing. We've had a bunch of attempts by activists to have content removed. We've had the normal kind of crazies come out and try and do their mass reporting, all of the things. And I think it's because the story is so effective. So let's just get right into it. On May 1st, a little girl named Brooklyn Rivera was using the bathroom at Rochester Memorial School in Massachusetts. A biological male student who identifies as a girl looked under the stall and asked, "Whose feet are those?" and then giggled and pretended to leave the restroom, only to sneak back in and allegedly to look under the stall, to continue to bother Brooklyn, and eventually to come in, slide in under the stall and come in and see Brooklyn when she is in a state of undress because she's just hopping down from the toilet. This, of course, left a 9-year-old third grade girl feeling just terrible. She was crying. She immediately went to the teacher. She came home and she was very upset. And I'm going to have Lewis tell this story. The school's response, one of the first written responses was, unfortunately, the bathroom door wasn't locked by Brooklyn. They were essentially blaming her. Now, the story that they've been telling has shifted many times, but Lewis's story, Brooklyn's story, that has stayed the same. The school system treated Brooklyn and her parents like the problem, and they continue to do so to this day. She is so scared that she is afraid of public restrooms. Her mother has to be with her. She has to see a therapist. This student who identifies as a girl began bullying her and singling her out, calling her a snitch. She started to sit alone at lunch, Brooklyn did, and months later, she was still afraid that she wrote a letter to the President of the United States and First Lady Melania, and we're going to show you that letter today. We aired it on social media, and it has gone absolutely viral. In it, she said, the school, said boys can use the girls' bathroom. I feel scared to use the girls' bathroom now. And the boy didn't get in trouble for his actions. Her father, Lewis, has spent the last 3.5 months fighting every step of the way. He has been to school board meetings. We're going to show some of his speeches. He's filed a formal Title IX complaint, a religious objection. He's put up lawn signs, and he even is here today to tell us about some other incidents that only prove that this school district has absolutely been failing Brooklyn and other children, and a formal Title IX investigation should definitely be launched by the Department of Education and the Office of Civil Rights. This school district needs to be held accountable. There's also reports that we're going to hear today about the guidance counselor in the school, the person who Brooklyn should be going to for comfort, to make her complaints. This is the person that should be helping her. Well, she's publicly altered yard signs and put up social media posts using AI to make political statements against Luis Rivera and basically, I think, in my opinion, mocking Brooklyn. Now, how is Brooklyn supposed to feel safe when she's in school if this is the person that she's supposed to go to? That doesn't make sense. So now let's bring on Luis Rivera so that he can tell this story. Luis Rivera is not a professional activist. He's just a dad. He's a dad who watched his quiet, shy, kind daughter, Brooklyn, come home traumatized. So let's bring on Luis Rivera. Luis Rivera is not a professional activist. He's just a dad. He's a dad who had to watch his quiet, shy, sweet little girl come home one day in May traumatized, absolutely traumatized, because of a policy that allowed a boy who simply identifies as a girl to come into his daughter's bathroom stall, to harass her, to humiliate her. And instead of the school treating this incident like it should have, like a Title IX infraction, they treated Brooklyn as the problem. Lewis spoke at a school committee meeting on May 7th and said, "My daughter was humiliated, embarrassed, frightened, and left feeling completely violated while sitting defenseless in what should have been a private and safe moment for any child. I'm going to bring on Lewis, and then we're going to play this speech on May 7th. Hi, Lewis. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Scarlett. Thank you for having me again.
You're welcome. we're going to play this school board speech before we start.
Good evening. Thank you, Chair. Thank you. My name is Louis Rivera. I'm a resident here at Rochester, taxpayer for 16 years. I am here tonight asking the board for a full and thorough investigation into an incident that occurred on Friday involving my 9-year-old daughter here at the school with a transgender boy. While my daughter was using the restroom at the school, a transgender boy that is biologically intact entered the restroom, was looking through the cracks of her stall while she was inside, then proceeded to push his way into the stall despite knowing that she was in there. My daughter was humiliated, embarrassed, frightened, and left feeling completely violated, while sitting defenseless in what should have been a private and safe moment for any child. I want to make something very clear from the beginning. This is not about attacking anyone's identity. This is not about politics. This is about my daughter's right to privacy, dignity, safety. Every student deserves to feel protected while at school, especially in a vulnerable place like a restroom. Whether you define this behavior as harassment, intimidation, bullying, or voyeuristic conduct, my daughter's personal boundaries were violated. And in many situations outside the school environment, this type of conduct would have carried serious consequences. Yet, instead of feeling supported afterward, our family felt dismissed and ignored. What made the situations even more upsetting is the administration's response or lack of response. Despite multiple emails to both the principal and superintendent, what we received felt more like an attempt to minimize the seriousness of this incident and then to generally address it. My daughter, who's only 9 years old, was spoken to about laws and policies without her parents being there, like she has some law degree. Somehow, that outweighed the emotional trauma she was experiencing. She was told to use the single restroom if she felt uncomfortable. So she went from the victim to being the perpetrator here. At that moment, my child did not need a lecture about policy. She needed compassion, she needed reassurance, she needed adults in position of authority to make her feel safe and protected. Since then, the emotional impact on her has only grown worse. She has reported being taunted and labeled a tattletale by this individual. They have been isolating her simply for speaking up and defending herself. She has gone home sick from the school this week, and the stress and anxiety are affecting her physically. She is not eating normally, and every morning she worries and stresses about going to school in the morning. What is also deeply concerning is the inconsistency of how this matter has been addressed. Earlier this week, I was told that the boy should not be using the girls' restroom. Now we're hearing a different explanation entirely. That inconsistently creates confusion, frustration, and a lack of trust for parents who simply want clear answers and accountability. We even requested something simple as having the student escorted by a monitor while these two used the bathroom, and we were blatantly denied. At the end of the day, the behavioral expectation and discipline should apply equally for every student, male, boy, or transgender. The discipline should be the same for either one of them. I am asking this board tonight to please take this matter seriously, conduct a proper investigation, review how this incident was handled from the start to finish, to ensure the appropriate disciplinary action is taken where necessary, to make sure no other child has to experience what my daughter has experienced with this transgender boy. I think that the community should know that if it is a law that a boy that is biologically intact can use the restroom with females, I think everybody should know this, because if I would have known this, I would have never been caught off guard, and I would have told my daughter from the beginning to stay over there. Her innocence was violated in this situation, and I feel like it's getting brushed off. And I would like I want an investigation on this, because it's not fair to her. You know, I got to go home and deal with her now. So I ask the board if they can do what they can to try to get this rectified, because this is outrageous. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be happening. Thank you very much.
Hi, Lewis. Thank you for coming on. Watching that, how does it make you feel?
It's upsetting. If you can see my wife on the left, she was emotional about it, and I try to handle this situation as diplomatic as possible. And I continued. I went to 3 other meetings and I spoke clearly, and it's heartbreaking to relive all that, because at that moment I remember she was home and I did have to go home and deal with her. This was early on. It was only a week since this incident had happened.
Let's take me back to when this incident first happened. It was on the afternoon of May 1st?
May 1st, yes.
Yes. What did Brooklyn tell you when she got home?
Well, I knew she was distraught because her eyes were just all puffy and red when she got off the bus around 3:30 that afternoon. And she said, "Oh, I miss you guys." And that's kind of a way she didn't know how to express it. So I almost had to interrogate. I was like, "I know something is wrong. What happened?" And she explained in detail what happened with this child that was in the bathroom, peering into her stall and then pushing his way through the door when she tried to get up and get dressed after she had warned him to step away. And my wife immediately got on the phone and called the school, and they told us that she was on the other line or whatever it was, and the matter was very urgent and we needed the principal to call us immediately. And this was on a Friday, and they just brushed it off. I guess it wasn't urgent enough. They needed to get out of there because it was a weekend coming.
Now, this incident had happened earlier in the day. Had Brooklyn made her teacher aware of what happened?
She explained the same thing too. She ran out of the bathroom, just as she said. She went to the teacher. The teacher noticed that she was crying and approached her and asked her, "Brooklyn, what's the matter?" And she goes, "I miss my mommy and my daddy." And that's just the way she is. She doesn't know how to verbally express what just happened, because it shouldn't happen to a child at that age. It's not like something that they normally experience. It was left like that. And I think that the teacher should have put up a red flag right away and said there's something going on, or have the guidance counselor come and have her call home, maybe, if she needed some comfort for whatever reason. But I think that's where the ball got dropped right from the beginning.
So, and this wasn't the first incident per se. This was the most serious. But you told me that earlier, like the previous year, there was some questions about this child that identifies as transgender and questions about what bathroom that he was using.
Yes, they went on a field trip, and to put it a timeline, they went over to Plymouth Rock and to go see where the pilgrims came from. It was around October-ish, October, November, right before the holidays. And during the day, the teacher ushered all the girls and this child into one bathroom, and my daughter came running back out and said she wasn't going to use the bathroom, and she kind of actually held it for the rest of the day. But she came home and told us, and immediately we got on the phone again. This is the first time we called the principal, and her first reaction, "Well, I wasn't there, and no, he doesn't belong in the bathroom. I'll ask the teacher that was on the trip." And we didn't hear anything else after that. Then around the holidays, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. So what I was going to say is that, so this was kind of a known thing, but Brooklyn did not feel comfortable talking to her teacher. I'm trying to lay the groundwork that she didn't feel comfortable because in the past, when she had expressed discomfort, nothing happened. So she probably felt like, if I say something, this kid's maybe going to bully me or make my life harder, and the teacher's not going to do anything anyway, so why should I say anything?
Yeah, it seems like she had lost trust in the adults. Yeah. That's how I think she lost trust in the adults or the teachers, and that.
Yeah. So that's important, because their lack of action meant that once this harassment started to escalate, first of all, the perpetrator, the other kid, realizes I'm not going to get in trouble, and then the victim realizes that this kid's not going to get in trouble, and things progressively get worse. And I think that that's why it's important for schools to step in right away. But in this incident, the school doesn't step in. And I believe it's because this is a kid that identifies as transgender, and that's like a sacred cow. Like they don't want to deal with it. They don't treat these kids the way they would treat anyone else, because their identity somehow gives them not just rights, but in their mind, rights plus. Like, and that's the big problem, in my opinion.
Yes, it's like a free pass, free hall pass, or get out of jail card whenever they need to. They hide behind this.
And so then your wife and you contact, you're upset, you contact the principal, and the principal says by email on May 5th, and I can pull that up too, but says, unfortunately, the bathroom door wasn't locked by Brooklyn when the student opened the door. And I know that was very embarrassing for Brooklyn. So they basically tried to say, no, this was just a girl, not really, it's a boy, a girl using a bathroom, and oops, it wasn't locked, and it was just an accident. So how did that make you feel that they were dismissing this?
Oh, I was deeply concerned, but I was hurt because it felt like she was the one at fault. She should have latched the door. Well, I think he shouldn't have been there in the first place, considering the pattern of behavior.
Yes, I agree. And the making Brooklyn seem like the problem. So yeah. Now let's go back. You and your wife, you contact the principal. What happens next?
Absolutely nothing. No follow-up call, nothing whatsoever. Nothing.
And so then you go to the school board meeting because you want action. You want something to happen. And you think if you let your school board know, they're going to do something. What happens after you give this speech?
Well, yeah, I was fortunate enough that there was a school committee meeting the following week, and someone said you can go over there and speak. You could speak openly, and I was like, okay. So I went over there, and I went and I spoke to them diplomatically. I expressed my concerns about what happened. I asked for a full investigation. I also asked that the community be aware to send out a blast email saying that if there is such a law that allows biological boys to go into the restroom with biological girls, that every parent and everybody in the community should be aware so they can have meaningful conversations with their children. So they sent out an article that was about itsy bitsy hidden in this big, long, colorful PTO from the principal email. And then all you do is when you open it, there was a link to the non-discrimination law, and that was it. That's all I got. So I had to go back again.
So now your wife, Kiri, she immediately responded to the principal when the principal said, "Oh, this is the fault of your daughter." And here's something your wife is saying here. I left a message with the secretary. She said you were on the phone. I haven't heard back from you. So again, you and your wife are attempting to reach out. We spoke this morning about a male using the girls' bathroom. And then your daughter had said that she saw the principal speaking with the student. And then that afternoon, the same male student was using the girls' bathroom again. Now, on top of that, your wife replied to the principal saying, when we spoke last, you said that boys are not allowed to use the girls' bathroom. What had changed? So what was the response to that?
Absolutely nothing. She sent us the link to the supposed law from DESE about non-discrimination, and that was it. She was like, well, this is it. This is what you have. And they stood quiet.
Yeah, and you asked, well, what if my son walked into a girl's bathroom and just started peeking under the stalls?
Exactly.
Wouldn't he face a
told
Title IX complaint?
exactly. I'm sorry to interrupt, but yes, I have a 10-year-old son that's he's in the 5th grade going into, and I said, what if it was my son that walked into the girls' bathroom and pushed the door open? I'm sure the local authorities would have been called. Maybe even social service DCF gets involved. He would probably have to go and speak to a therapist and get some kind of counseling. He would have been suspended automatically. Definitely. I know this would have happened. What's the difference here? I said gender, there's no differentiate for accountability in gender, either male, female, trans, or whatever you want to be, that there has to be accountability for the behavior of the individual.
That's a good point, because even if your 5th grade son was a girl and she was peeking under the stalls, opening up the doors, staring at another child's private areas, making them feel uncomfortable, making them cry, even if it was a biological girl doing that, that is still sexual harassment. And that would still be a sufficient cause to open up a Title IX investigation. Your school, like every school in America, there is a Title IX coordinator that should be immediately contacted. And if serious enough, then the local police are contacted. This is standard. This is the law. And instead, your school didn't deal with it. As a matter of fact, you say in that speech that they spoke with your daughter at that time, 9 years old, 3rd grade, alone, without calling you, without asking your consent. What happened in that situation?
Yeah, that's a total FERPA violation right there. They pulled her out of the classroom. Right? I would say it was probably that Tuesday, the following, to ask her what happened. And I guess the principal told her that this child had legal allowance. And my daughter came home that afternoon and she goes, "Daddy, what is legal allowance?" So I said, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "The principal told me that this person, I'm not going to mention her name, had legal allowance to use the bathroom." So I had to look it up. And I'm like, why are they talking to you about laws? And she has no clue. She's 9 years old. She shouldn't be worried about laws. She should be worrying about going to recess and lunch.
Yeah, so she's reading off Massachusetts state policy that, like explaining to her, here's the policy, here's the law. She's 9 years old.
Correct.
These are things that should have been said to you and your wife, who repeatedly asked, sent emails, made phone calls. You were asking for more information. You were told, oh, well, no, boys should not be allowed in girls' bathrooms. So this is an issue. But here's the thing. They act as if this biological boy, is a girl.
Mm-hmm.
So in their mind, they're like, oh yeah, we're following the policy because it's just another girl going into the bathroom. And that's not true. And even in June 30th, the Supreme Court affirmed that a biological boy can't simply claim to be a girl. They can't just say, oh, I'm a girl, and that makes them a girl entitled to Title IX protections. And but this school district is not budging. The state of Massachusetts has, they're very woke, and this policy is very woke, but it's not in keeping with the president's executive orders and the Secretary of Education's guidance, but we'll get into more of that later. Now, I'm going to go through some of the key points of the official reports. But first of all, the school created a safety plan that focused on keeping the two students, your daughter and this male, apart in the bathroom, offering Brooklyn a single stall space. Again, instead of having the boy use the single stall space, the one boy, they are saying if a girl is uncomfortable, like your daughter, she has to use a single stall space, but and she has to go to the nurse's bathroom. This is something I'm dealing with in Wisconsin with Ella Fry. She's a 17-year-old. So they changed your daughter's behavior instead of this boy's access.
Mhm.
What did you think of that policy, and did they even follow through with that safety plan?
No, it's insane. And they didn't follow through with it, because I had a meeting with the principal after that. They say, oh, they seem to gravitate towards each other, and they try to downplay the whole situation. And touching back on where they failed, if the school committee after this incident would have wrote a policy saying that either gender, male, female, or transgender, acts in this way in the bathroom, they should lose all rights to a communal bathroom, period. Anybody that with this kind of behavior should lose their right, whether it was a boy, a girl, transgender, or whatever they want to identify. The behavior is unacceptable. There should have been a policy put in place immediately saying that you lose the right for all communal to use all communal bathrooms, and it wasn't. That's the failure, and that's why I filed to remove all the school committee members off the board, because they had ample opportunity to write a policy and to protect all of the students, and they failed to do so. And in doing so, it has this divisive culture in the school right now, and the confidence of the community has deteriorated in the school right now.
Now, I want to talk about something we didn't talk about the last interview, and that's a second incident. And this is jumping ahead to June, so we're going to kind of go back and forth. But in June, after the original incident, something else happened between Brooklyn and this boy. Can you tell us what happened?
Oh yeah, this was towards just as a matter of just like a couple of weeks after that. So they said they were going to separate them. That was part of their safety plan. They were going to make sure that, because I had spoke to them about the bullying, and then my daughter was getting isolated with the other students and eating lunch alone. So they said they would separate them, keep them apart, but they kept them in the same classroom. So they're working on projects, and I sent you the report. I sat down with the principal. She drew a diagram of the classroom. This individual was on the far left corner. She was on the far right by the door. And apparently he came over and thought it was okay to stomp all over their projects while she was working on it on the floor. And then when they were putting it away, he came back again and hit her with the trifold poster. Hit another child and hit her with the poster. I went in, we did an investigation, we did the diagrams, where was this person? He had no right to be over there. They said, oh, he just went over there to go grab a marker. If they were working on the projects, they had all the tools that they needed there. He went over there in an intentional behavioral way and stepped all over her project, and then proceeded to hit her with the trifold. And again, as the school administration does, every single report is downplayed to benefit them.
Yep. I'm going to play another school board speech that you gave in June. So here is another school board speech that you gave on June 3rd.
Wilcox, anyone on Zoom?
Okay, next up in person, we have Luis Rivera.
My name is Luis Rivera, and I'm a resident here in Rochester. Thank you, administration, thank you, school committee, and thank you, members of the community, for allowing me to speak today. 30 days ago, I stood in this very room and spoke from the heart about an incident involving my daughter on May 1st, when a boy entered the restroom, was peering through the stall, knowing that she was in there, and decided it was okay to push her through the door and stare at her. I came here respectfully with one goal: to ensure that what happened to my daughter would be taken seriously and that meaningful action would follow. Instead, after weeks, I was forced to file a Title IX complaint before any action was taken. It should not take weeks for a family to receive answers when a child has been affected like this. At the last meeting, I asked for transparency. I asked the parents to be clearly informed, for the parents to be clearly informed about the policies and laws governing restroom access, so they could have informative conversations with their own children. Instead, the information was buried in a brief small newsletter from the principal that families likely never saw. What disappoints me the most is that we've had to miss the opportunities for meaningful dialogue. This matter was not placed on the agenda, and as a result, We have not had a public discussion this community deserves. We could have talked about strengthening student privacy, improving procedure, and preventing situations like this from happening again. Let me be clear, and I said it last month, this is not about politics. This is not about Democrats, Republican, religion, race, left, right, red or blue. It's not about hostility towards any group of people. This is about the safety and privacy and well-being of all of our children. My daughter's experience matters. The experience of every child in this district matters. The current measures put in place is not a long-term solution. Sending students to the restroom one at a time may address the immediate concerns, but it does not solve the broader problem. We need thoughtful, fair, and effective policies that protect all students, not punishing the whole class. My concerns extend far beyond my daughter. There are thousands of female students in this district, and the decision made today will affect them for years to come. We have the obligation to ensure that every child feels safe and protected. As a father, it's heartbreaking to watch my daughter relive that experience through investigations and interviews. Every time she has to tell her story over, it crushes me on the inside. But it also strengthens my resolve to seek answers and advocate for her. You have the authority right here to lead, review the policies, engage the community, consider solutions that worked in other districts in this great Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I will continue to advocate for my daughter and for every little girl whose concerns deserves to be heard. I stand before you emotionally exhausted behind this, but I'm determined. My daughter has a name and a face, and I am her voice, though. I will continue to use this voice until meaningful changes occur. Thank you for your time.
So, Louis, what happened after you gave this speech?
Nothing. No, nothing. And you said, and you hear what I said there? I said, I am going to use this voice until this is resolved or meaningful resolution to this. And from then on, I started my campaign of the no boys in the girls' bathrooms at RMS because they wouldn't listen to me. I was there diplomatically. I didn't go there violent. People I hear all these messages from other dads. Oh, I would have went in there. I would have done this. I said, I can't do that because she will lose twice. I said, yep. This is something that it needs to be rectified, not only for her, but for all the little girls in her elementary school and throughout the school district, throughout the state. It has to stop. It has to stop.
Yep, absolutely. And then
that's another one. Oh, that's a whole nother show.
We're going to touch on that, but so let's talk about the Title IX investigator, Dr. Curley, issued a final report on July 17th and found that the incident was an inappropriate violation of expected bathroom privacy and etiquette, and that this student did not knock before entering. What did you think of this final report that was issued in July?
Okay, so that was the first preliminary. There's two reports. We sent it back to get amended because the statements in the report by the investigator, by the witness, and by the perpetrator does not match their findings.
Okay. Yeah.
Because the findings say it was accidental. It can't be.
Yep. And Brooklyn was in the bathroom for 9 minutes. I mean, that's a long time for me. That means something's going on.
Yeah. We had them pull up the video in the hallway and do a timeline, and everything matches just the way it was, exactly how it happened. And even with the video, they still did not find any fault in what happened.
And then your daughter was now eating lunch alone. She was isolated. This child was telling everyone that she was a snitch, calling her a snitch. I think, in my opinion, engaging in bullying like behavior so that maybe other students were afraid to be nice to her or friends with her because they didn't want to get bullied as well?
Yeah, exactly. And she wind up sitting alone, and she would come home and, Daddy, I had lunch alone today. I was like, how would you have lunch alone? This child was telling everyone that she was a tattletale and so on and so forth. You know how kids are at that age, because he is the child. So they try to gravitate people towards them like they're the popular ones. And they secluded, they left her sitting alone a couple of times at lunch. We had spoke to a couple of the parents and the other girls, and the parents reassured her that they would be sitting with her after that. But it was tough for her that first week or two. It was very tough for her because she felt isolated. She felt like she was she was the bad apple out of the whole situation, right? That's how they made her feel.
Yeah, she was made to feel like she was a bad kid, that she shouldn't have said anything, that she should just accept that this boy is going to be using the bathrooms. And not only that, but that he's allowed to kind of just peek under the stalls, to wait for her, to taunt her, to pretend to leave and come back, to kind of play games. Say things like, whose feet are that under there? And then the school says, well, they just seem to be drawn to each other. Well, I think this other kid seems to be drawn to her, but Brooklyn wants none of it. Brooklyn just wants to be left alone. And I think that what the statements that the school is making are they're shocking. They are shaming the victim. They are doing everything they can to, like, nothing to see here, look away, nothing's happening. But things are happening. They keep getting worse, as you described with that poster board incident. After the incident, your wife wrote the principal, and I want to read her exact words because they're very powerful. She says, I must express with great concern that I have a terrible feeling that my daughter is in danger in the hands of this administration and in this school environment. I feel that without a clear resolution and communication of the findings, we are left in uncertainty, and that is deeply troubling. That is a profound statement to make. And I would imagine that the response was nothing.
Nothing. And yeah, and as this continues to unfold, I have other parents coming to me that they've had other situations and the administration handles it the same way. Either total silence, they brush it under the rug, or they try to downplay it to the minimal. They've been doing this for years now. Years. I've got so many parents reaching out and telling me things about their children. Some of them pulled their child out of the school and started homeschooling because of the lack of transparency, empathy, and anything from the school district.
Yeah, that's what happens. But they may be doing nothing, but you decided you're going to do something. So I'm going to put up this video that I posted just late last week.
This is sign number 310. As you see, I have signs down there. It says no boys in the girls' bathroom. This is all because of an incident that happened with my daughter May 1st, where a transgender boy was peeping in on her and decided to push the door open on her. It's been a big controversy in town here. We have approximately 1,008 homes in this town, and I blanketed 310 with these signs. She could turn around, you'll see signs down on the other side over here too. They go far back. No boys in the girls' bathroom. The neighbors down here, down at the next house, they have signs. They have nicknamed this road that goes all the way down. They call it MAGA Mile because of all the signs that I have, which I'll bring up into another video. Today I had petitions, filled out petitions to remove all 5 school committee members from the town. I'm not getting answers. I'm not getting any responses for them. The lack of transparency and the empathy. It's not there. I've been to every school committee meeting that they've had and voiced my opinions. And today I'm holding a drive-through petition, and I'm hoping to get 485 signatures from the 4,800 voters that are in town. So we will see. I'll get more clips and videos as I go down the road. I got some more signs to put on in the yards, and I still got the petitions over here that we're doing drive-through at 7 p.m. now, and we're going to wrap it up, and I'm going to get down and put some more signs down into the center of town.
I can hear you.
So you're putting up these signs all around your area, dubbed the Mega Mile. What do these signs say? And when did you start the recall process, and how is it going?
Yeah. So the signs, I had to come up with an idea because I didn't want them to think it was a political agenda or a hate towards either the LGBTQ or any of those organizations. I just wanted to make a statement that is true. And I came up with this idea of no boys in the girls' bathroom at RMS, which is the Rochester Memorial School, and the other one too, where RMS administration fails our female students. And they're actual facts, right? Looking at everything. And I started with just a couple of signs, and the people started noticing them, and they were reaching out. And now I put out 310. I just ordered another 350 signs because I'm getting people from the outside communities that want the signs. They want me to speak at local events in their area to share my story with them, and just to bring awareness that it could be happening in your school, or it might have happened, but you have a voice and you can defend these children. This cannot stay like this. I replace them right away. If the signs are missing, I replace them right away. That's what I tell them. I said, if your sign is missing, we'll replace them right away. I'll put cinder blocks, whatever I got to do, but we're going to keep the signs up. And I'm getting a lot of backlash on that. They started putting other signs actually this week here that everyone belongs here with colorful pencils. And then I said, well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. No, I'm going to bring up some of these signs. Hold on. All right. So here we're going to bring up some of these signs. First of all, let's look at the, got a bunch of good stuff here. All right. So here we go. So here's one of the signs that is not your original sign. This is a sign made by someone else. Who is this sign made by?
This sign, if you see this house here, he was one of the first to get my signs, and I put them out. And as soon as they noticed, this was posted over social media, and one of this person's friends did not like what they did. So they screenshotted this person's name and who they were in all the comments. You know who altered this sign with the AI? Was the same guidance counselor that's supposed to bridge therapy with my daughter coming in September. Unacceptable. You want to talk about, I was upset that a guidance counselor in a school that's supposed to be there for emotional and academical support, not only for my daughter, for every other child, has to do something like this and then post it over social media. And it wasn't like she knew that it wasn't wrong, because in the comments, people are telling her that you're going to get in trouble for this. And she's like, oopsie, like if it was a big joke. This is unacceptable because you're targeting my daughter. The signs reflect my daughter. And when you do something like this, you're attacking my daughter personally. Not me, not anybody else, but you're attacking my daughter personally. Because what I did was I put a factual statement, and you're going to go and turn around and do an altered AI sign and then post it over social media like it's a joke.
And you can see in your background, these are the signs that you put up. No boys in the girls' bathroom. And then that the school district is failing our female students. You could see those right in the background. And these aren't controversial. These aren't political.
No,
It's
they're
just
just
saying,
statements. Yeah.
yeah, just statements, no boys and girls bathrooms. And
Right.
there should be fair treatment in the school system. And they are failing the girls when they do not apply Title IX harassment correctly. When they're allowing for girls to be harassed in their bathrooms, to feel unsafe, to be taunted and bullied, then they are failing female students. These are factual statements. You can agree with them, you can disagree with them. Some are factual, in my opinion, but you're allowed to put your opinion out there. That's a free country. But now, and you know what? Same thing. If someone wants to put up this sign, fine.
Exactly.
But the person who created it and put it on their social media with their name on it. Now, we're not showing the name, but the name is on it. So everyone in the community knows exactly who, quote, fixed it. And it is the guidance counselor who is supposed to work with your daughter this school year as she enters 4th grade. In the midst of all of this controversy, she is in therapy because of how unsafe she feels, how traumatized she is. And the person that's supposed to be the bridge, provide the bridge therapy in school, the counselor, basically is putting up a sign that this is addressing you, adults using children in the culture war. This is directed towards you and your wife. They are targeting you. You weren't targeting her specifically. Here, she is targeting you.
Yep.
And it is your child who she is supposed to be watching out for, providing services to. She is a state official, a government official, and she is doing this with her name on it. Were there any repercussions for her?
No, not at all. And underneath that sign, you're saying equality for all. So she's trying to say they're all equal. Underneath that sign, I took the image. I wrote out an email. I sent it not only to this school committee, but all the Tri-Town, which it's about 13 or 15 committee members, the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, and the principal. And I CC'd her on it. And I sent it to them. I was saying, this is unacceptable. I will not have my daughter within 2 feet of this person. She should not be in the school dealing with any kind of children if she has to bring her own political beliefs. And this is where it happens, right? They start training these kids at an early age for this stuff. And I said, I don't want her near this. And who knows if she's still employed or if they moved her around like they've moved other people. I don't know at this point because I never got a response.
Of course, not a response. And you are basically saying, yes, all students should be treated equal, including my daughter. Biological girls should be treated equally. They are being treated like second-class citizens, told that if they want to have their own private space to use the bathroom, to undress, like Riley Gaines said, we are asking for the bare minimum, that when we are in a state of undress, when we are pulling down our pants, when we're taking off our shirts in a locker room, that we are amongst only women, that we don't feel safe being around men. And most girls even have trouble changing in front of other girls. So the added humiliation ritual of being forced to change in front of a boy, to pull your pants down in front of a boy, knowing that at any minute he can open up the stall, take a good long stare, and no one's going to do anything about it. They're just going to say, oh, you should have locked the door better, because they're too afraid to go after a child that identifies as trans, whether it's because they are part of the cult and they're brainwashed, or because they just so fear the rage of the same people that are going after you. And they just don't have the courage to stand up to these woke bullies. And these are adults that I'm talking about. Then they just participate in all of this obfuscation, and there's just this shroud of secrecy. And you're saying, hey, I want equality. So no duh, we all want equality. You, the person putting up that sign, you don't want equality. You want extra rights plus, and you want tons and tons of excuses for bad behavior. Oh, well, they're trans. oh, in Westosha, we had an 18-year-old. This is where it ends, because in Westosha, Wisconsin, we had a 16-year-old entering a girl's locker room, undressing and rubbing lotion on his genitalia, claiming that he was experiencing chafing. And so the girls had to watch him perform sexual acts in front, and the school did nothing. So that's where this ends, just so you know. Or we had another case in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, where an 18-year-old, that means an adult, walks into a locker room, a shower area after gym class, and 14-year-old girls have to watch him strip naked and shower next to them, where he's like, I'm trans, by the way, and he has fully intact male genitalia. But sorry, nothing we can do. He identifies, he put on some nail polish and grew out his hair, and now he can expose himself to girls who are traumatized. And it took them a month to tell their parents. So everyone might say, oh, well, okay, a little peek under the stall. Well, it ends up with outright sexual abuse and violations, and girls basically hiding, lining up to use a single stall, refusing to change, holding in their urine so that they end up with urinary tract infections, going home, because girls hit puberty and they have a real need to use the bathroom. They menstruate. Actual girls menstruate. And the fact that they aren't using the bathroom because there are boys in it is unhealthy for them. It's unsafe, and it's immoral. It's wrong. I'm sorry, I'm going off on this, but these policies lead to even more treacherous situations.
Right. But who better to groom for the future than elementary school children, right? Because if you start them at this age, when they're 18 or 16 in middle school or in high school, they're used to it, so they won't talk about it no more, right? The elementary school level are the most vulnerable right now. If they start grooming now, you won't hear of incidents like that because they're going to think it's the norm. And it's not the norm. So these children are very vulnerable. That's why I'm advocating so hard. I will advocate for the junior high and the high school, but the elementary children are like sponges. And who better to groom now for their future generation? And if we don't stop it now, I don't know. It's scary to even think about where it's going to be in the next couple of years.
You're exactly right. And you know what? All kids do not belong. They don't. No. Kids who are violent don't belong in the classroom with other kids. Kids that are bullying and engaging in acts that are humiliating other kids don't belong in the same bathroom as the girls. These all kids don't belong. All people don't belong. Rapists don't belong with women. Okay, you don't do that. You don't put these groups together, because we want to protect people. We want to protect kids. We want to protect women. And because until 5 minutes ago, adults understood that it's an unsafe situation to put biological males in confined small spaces with females as females engage in undressing. I mean, come on. This is common sense here. You don't do that. This is inviting things that the school is going to have to deal with, just like they are now. And people are going to get hurt. So I think in order to protect the girls, they need to change their policy and align it with the guidance of the president, the guidance of the Secretary of Education, the Department of Education, and with the Supreme Court, which just recently stated that Title IX protections belong to females, that the definition of sex is binary, it's male or female, and that the Equal Protection Clause does not apply to gender identity. So if you identify as transgender, yes, you have equal rights under the law, but the status of transgender and gender identity, that those aren't immutable. So the Equal Protection Clause in the 14th Amendment do not apply, because when you trigger the 14th Amendment, then there's stricter scrutiny over policies. And so if this was race, if based on race, if then in bathrooms, of course, then the 14th Amendment applies. But gender identity, no, it doesn't. And I think that we need to have specific case law that starts to make its way through the courts, going through the federal courts and getting right up in front of the Supreme Court so they could finally do what they did this year for girls' sports and do that for the bathrooms and say that states and schools just explicitly say it, that girls can have private spaces. Now, I think all of this is inferred already by case law, particularly in the most recent Hecox v. Little and the decisions that were decided on June 30th. I think it's pretty clear to me and to a lot of constitutional scholars, but those on the left are still dragging their heels. These woke school boards are still saying, well, yeah, they said specifically that states and schools can not allow boys that identify as girls to play on female athletic teams, but they didn't say anything about bathrooms specifically. Right. Well, I think that that's ridiculous, but that's why what's happening to you and your daughter is so important, and why this is such an important case, in my opinion. And I hope that it's one that is taken up by a pro bono firm. There are a lot of good firms out there that they deal with these issues, and I really hope that they help you. But I will want to bring up about the recall. So here is your recall petition. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, so those are the three statements that I made, right? They, as members of the school committee, have failed to protect the safety and privacy and dignity of female students at the Rochester Memorial School by refusing to implement a policy that would separate the bathrooms by biological sex. This is after I had explained my concerns during the three school committee meeting. And because of that, and refusing to try to implement the policies and separate bathrooms by sexes has created a harmful and decisive culture within the school system, which is exactly what's happening right now and all across the country. And the third is the major loss of public confidence. The people are tired of it. And in failing so to take that action, makes their decisions resulted in significant erosion of and trust and confidence among the members of the Rochester community. And that's all communities across the country. People need to stand up and speak. They need to speak their rights. We can recall these people. There hasn't been one done in this town for over 20 years. I had to jump through hoops to get the affidavit signed because I need signatures for that. Then I was able to get them. I was going to remove just a few of them. And in a matter of an hour or two, it got leaked out somewhere, somehow in these small towns. It happens. The town administrator started receiving calls right away, threatening that if he doesn't remove all 5 of them, that they were going to start petitioning on the other 2. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to take them all off and we'll start from scratch. And I'm also have 2 petitions, one on the superintendent and one on the principal for their immediate resignation. But I don't think that's going to happen. But what I want to do is send it up to the ethics committee. I put a statement in there asking them to investigate on how they handled the situation and how they failed my daughter. And that one there is getting signatures not only from this town, but from all surrounding communities, the amount of people that are coming out to speak.
That's tremendous. And how many signatures do you have so far?
We're about 350.
Wow, so, you're getting there.
We had 20 days, so my deadline's the 24th. And at the end of the day, I just hope that the Secretary of Education to come down. I need somebody to come down. These people needed to be investigated, check the policies that they rewrote. They need an audit on their finance. There's all kind of stuff happening in the school. They need an investigation. That we need somebody to come down here and help these poor people, these poor little girls in this town.
Yes, they do. I mean, so, and again, you had to formally notify the principal and the superintendent that you are refusing to allow this counselor, this guidance counselor, to work with Brooklyn over the next school year on her therapeutic exposure plan because she basically created signs against you and your wife, these political signs, political statements, making, and so she can't, I don't think any parent in their right mind would allow this school counselor near their kid. And what has the district done? Are they investigating this counselor? Have they taken action? Have they fired her? Have they moved her? What's going on? You don't know, but your daughter needs another guidance counselor to work with. And so there's been delayed therapy support. And you have documented that. You have sent me many, many emails. Brooklyn's therapist recommended exposure therapy to help her overcome her fear of public restrooms. Now, this is recommended by the doctors that are working with her. The school has delayed action on this for months, and school is just about to start. And your daughter has developed, because of what happened, because of the policy and the school's inability to act, your daughter has developed a fear of public restrooms. She has actually fears of being in public and around a lot of people. And so you need the school to help with a bridge plan, because when she's in school, not with you, she's going to have, whatever gains you've made over the summer, those could be lost if this action plan isn't implemented.
Exactly. And they don't understand how hard it is when we go to a public event or at a ballpark or at an event, that if she is not with her mother, I need to find a family restroom or find a restroom where I can stand outside and make sure that she feels safe on the inside. This is not a joke. They think this is all lies and this is all made up. You know, when my wife has to go into a bathroom and clear the bathroom, make sure that nobody's in there, and she has to stand with her feet where my daughter can see her feet while she uses the restroom. I tried to take her to a water park last week, and that was a big challenge because they only had one family restroom. So every time she had to use the restroom, I had to pack up, take and go find that restroom on the other side of the park. So I was able to stand out there, and she knew that she was secure in the restroom with the door locked. And this behavior started right after this incident. She started locking the doors in the house, locking the doors in the bathroom. She would call me from the bathroom, "Dad, is the door locked?" And I would go and shake the handle. I'm like, "Yes, honey, the door is locked. You're okay. You're home. You're with me." They're making this sound like this is not happening. I'm living this every single day with her.
And you have the proof. You've got the medical reports. She's seen professionals. In one of the emails that you and your wife recently wrote, you said the management of the situation by this school district, by this school and principal, is utterly incompetent, deeply disappointing, and unprofessional. They have finally only offered dates for August 31st or September 1st. I mean, they're pushing it right up to when school starts. And this was something that should have been worked out very early on in the summer.
Right. We addressed this in June, right before school got out. And she said, "Well, you know, the staff is going on break, but I'll reach out and try to get a therapist in here to work with her during the summer." And nothing. And I even said I could start the exposure therapy just myself, bringing her to the school, parking in the front of the school, checking on her anxiety, and then work our way into school, and then introduce students when the school year started. Here we go at the beginning of August, giving us a date towards the first week of school with no response all summer. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And
to be clear, this is exposure therapy. The therapist recommended that in order to overcome her anxiety and trauma, that she needs to be in the school. She needs to be kind of coached and while in the bathroom, and exposing her to these situations that are bringing the anxiety, just so that the therapist can work on alleviating that anxiety and fear in a safer space, not right in the middle of school, but when the perfect opportunity is over the summer, and they've not responded to you until recently, and then they give you a date to basically, just a few days before school starts. And so when they say that they care about children and they're all about children and all children belong, they certainly don't seem to care about Brooklyn. They don't care if she feels like she belongs, and they are even thumbing their nose at medical professionals that are asking, can you please help this family? Can you please help this little girl? This is the science, that this is the medical advice, and they're doing nothing.
Absolutely nothing. And the exposure therapy doesn't start immediately. It's little increments from the front of the school to get the test her anxiety to outside the bathroom door, slowly but surely, and depending on where her anxiety level is. So this has to be implemented over weeks and time, not throw her into an environment where not only is she going to have anxiety because there's going to be hundreds of children around, now we're going to embarrass her, right? Because now we have to pull her out of class, and we have to do this in the hallway, and then we have to go in the bathroom, and this is just more insult to injury. One thing after another with this administration. I can't. Something has to be done.
Something does have to be done. And before we're going to talk about the federal context. Under President Trump, Secretary Linda McMahon and Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon, the federal government has made it clear that Title IX protects biological females in intimate spaces. Massachusetts is still operating under the older DESE guidance. It is not operating under the most recent guidance since the Trump administration has taken office.
Right.
They are not looking at recent case law, recent Supreme Court decisions, and even decisions in states like California. They aren't monitoring the direction of this case law, which is going in the direction of sanity and common sense. They are willfully ignoring federal law, federal guidance, and the Supreme Court of the United States of America. Those who love democracy don't seem to love it very much when it conflicts with their woke worldview. So because of these conflicts, this opens up the door for the Department of Education and the Office of Civil Rights to initiate and launch a Title IX investigation. I also think it opens the door for a federal case. I think you have a case, in my opinion. How do you feel? I think we know how you feel. You've expressed your wishes. How big of a difference would it make if the Trump administration were to come in and say, we're going to take a look at this?
It would help tremendously. Like, see what happened. They're hiding behind that executive order that Biden put in, and Trump overturned that immediately when he came in. Thank you, President Trump.
Yes.
But they're hiding behind it. We need them to let them know that this is federal law. They cannot continue to do this to our children. We need to put maybe an oversight committee to go into these states and go investigate county by county, town by town, because they're taking advantage of it and they're trying to hold on. They're grasping for straws right now. And we're at a point in a pivotal time in history that we can change this. We have a great leader in our country. We have the administration to back it up. We need them to come down to the people. We need your help. We need your help.
Yes. And I'm going to close with something very powerful, and it is a letter that your daughter wrote to the President of the United States and First Lady Melania. When did your daughter Brooklyn write this letter?
She wrote that in the late May and early June of the letter. She had asked me, she goes, "Dad, I want to write, can I write a letter to the president? Will he get it?" I said, "I'm not sure, but we can write the letter and we'll send it. And I'm proud of you for sticking up." And we researched the whole process, how long it takes to get letters to the president. She helped me research it. It takes 6 to 8 weeks before it gets processed. And I said, he gets so many letters, honey, but hopefully he will answer it. But at least if not, you know that you can write and stand up for what you believe in. And we sent the letter and we never heard anything about it. Actually, we just found it not too long ago, which I sent to you because my wife had taken a screenshot of it. But it's in the White House. It's in the post. I don't know where it's at, but it's out there somewhere. And I hope it's on his desk under a pile of papers and he gets it. But this is her own words.
Okay, and I'm going to read what she wrote here. We'll watch this.
Dear Mr. President and Melania, my name is Brooklyn Rivera. I live in Rochester, Massachusetts. I need your help. You see, I was in the bathroom of my school and a transgender boy walked in. He started to peek through the stall and then he pushed my door open. He embarrassed me. I was crying after it happened, but my school did nothing to help me. My mom and dad have been back and forth with the principal, but the school says that boys can go into the bathroom with girls. Now I feel scared to use the girls' bathroom. And the boy didn't get into trouble at all. I go to Rochester Memorial School. I'm in the 3rd grade. I'm 9 years old. If you wanted to call my parents, you could. Any help that you can give me would be great. Thank you. Signed, Brooklyn Rivera.
So I'm going to tell you something. Here's the letter. I'm in DC and I have a friend who is the secretary for the President of the United States of America, and I'm going to be delivering this letter to her today in person. Yes, so I can promise you the president is going to see this letter.
Thank you so much. It tears at my heart every time because that's her. That's how she feels. It tears me apart every time I hear about it or read it.
Yeah, that 9-year-old little girls have to feel this way. They have to suffer this humiliation, this injustice. It's so wrong, and it's so shocking that adults on the school board are just they're not even willing to make compromises. They're not willing to do the right thing. They claim to be all about caring and belonging and inclusion, but they are excluding Brooklyn. They are not treating her fairly. They have mistreated you and your wife. But I am so grateful that rather than give up, rather than move, rather than just say, I'm going to homeschool, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm glad that you're fighting back. I see you're so emotional. I can't even imagine how you feel, what you're going through. You've had friends turn their back on you. You've had people who you thought were friends, were good people, that they've misaligned, they've maligned you. But you've also made new friends. How does all this make you feel?
Sometimes I wanted to run. There was people that I knew for 17 years in this community that their children slept at my house, and we played sports together and vacationed together. And when this incident happened, they showed who they truly and really were, and it's upsetting. I lost at least a dozen families and friends, but I gained hundreds. I've gained hundreds of people that are like family now. There's nowhere I can go where nobody doesn't stick out their hand or ask me to come in, and they'll pray for me and pray for my family. I got families that drop their daughters off to have play dates with my daughter to keep her emotionally stable. And then I have the hate groups that are coming in now since I went public with this, and that's been a battle too. So I'm getting hit from all different angles emotionally, but I'm standing my ground. I stand my ground, and I'm going to continue to advocate for her, and I'm going to continue to advocate for the rest of the children in these elementary schools that they do not deserve this. This is not what God intended in this world, not at all.
And I encourage anyone watching this to just stand, to share this, and to stand with you, stand with Brooklyn. If you live in the community and you have not signed this recall petition, you need to do that. I will put in the comments where you can contact Lewis so that you can arrange to sign. Bring people with you when you do it. Do this for this little girl right here. She deserves privacy protection, and this school district deserves to face reckoning for what they have done. And finally, there was this, you just sent me this, so I'm going to pull up kind of a little bit of what you're up against, what you were just talking about. So right here, Massachusetts warns parents to stay quiet after their 9-year-old was cornered in a school bathroom by a transgender classmate. So what happened here? The Commonwealth LGBTQ Youth Commission, in an Instagram post, warns that public messaging about the case may indirectly identify that they should just stay quiet, all of that stuff. So so just can't talk about it. You can't defend yourself. You can't do anything. You're just supposed to take it. You're just supposed to
intimidation tactics. I'm getting it left and right. The local authorities are aware of it. And hopefully we're going to be in the process of tracking down IP addresses because they are getting very, very nasty and violent, and nothing has happened here. But what they're doing is they're going to bring other people in. And when you get 20 or 30 of these people that are talking the way they're talking on social media, I'm just worried about other people in the community. I've been calling for peace. Just hold your ground. Do not say anything negative, because that's not who we are. I don't want that to reflect my daughter or the campaign that I'm going for here. So I've been asking the community to just be peaceful about it. Let the authorities take care of it. And I hope it does not escalate, but I have a feeling it's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better. But I stand with the armor of God, and I want to fight through with this.
Yeah. And, again, these are the people that are claiming, violence, hate, all of those things. And they're the ones that are engaging in the violence. They're the ones that are engaging in the hate. Everything you're doing is lawful. It's peaceful. You're operating within state statute. You've gone through the chain of command since this incident first started. You've tried to work with the school, and you've done everything that you can possibly do. And now you need the help of the federal government, and you need the help of organizations to support your family, and you need the help of lawyers to get justice and to make sure that the school district is following the law. And if they aren't, that they get sued. That it's just as simple as that, since they won't listen to, since they just will continue on with this agenda. There needs to be consequences. And if that means that they lose funding, if that means that there needs to be a lawsuit brought by yourself and other parents, then so be it. They just, I think that's the only language that they speak. They just won't listen to reason. And they will deny and deny. Oh, this isn't happening. And then when you finally prove it is, they're like, okay, yeah, it's happening. You're a bigot if you don't go along with it. And then if they're in attempts to just tell you what you want to hear don't work, or if their attempts to just push it under the rug, sweep it under the rug don't work, then they just ignore you. They completely ignore you. And your daughter is very young. She's got many years in this school district. If you stay in this area, and you've built roots here, you have a property, you've done renovations. This is your home. This is your community. It shouldn't be expected. And I know there'll be a lot of comments like, you should move, you should leave. I'm of the opinion that sometimes we have to plant our feet in the ground, and we have to say to those bullies, we have to say to those who are undermining our way of life, our Constitution. They're going after our children. We have to say, no, you move. You move. I'm going to stay here. You move. I am operating within the confines of the law. You are not. You need to change. You need to move. So I appreciate the fact that you're standing firm, and that doesn't mean to say that there doesn't come to a point where you finally have to just say, I've got to think about my kids, and this is as much as I can do. But I'm glad that you're not there yet, and that you're fighting for your state, for your area, because just because you live in a blue state doesn't mean every single county is blue. There are red counties, there are pockets of sanity in all of these states. And I don't think that everyone should just throw up their hands and give up.
Yeah. Just because the state is blue doesn't mean every individual in the state has to be blue. And that's what I think they're doing. Like you said, bullying. So they want to bully you out, and I'm standing my ground.
Yeah. They're trying to silence you. They're using all of these tools to silence you. And if they can't silence you, they want to make sure that everyone is watching you and thinking, oh, heck no, I'm never going to speak out, because look at what he's going through. Look at what their daughter's going through. Again, I was recently with Riley Gaines, and I watched her give a speech, and I spoke with her, and I watched her. She was talking to the young girls, and she was counseling them, like, you have to stand up and you have to speak out. You're so powerful. Like, your daughter speaking out, you speaking out is so powerful. That's why they're trying to silence it, because they try and say this isn't happening, or it's so rare, or when it does, everyone loves it. Everyone's just like, oh yeah, this is, we just love it. It's such a great, they're using a virtue signal accessory, like, oh, I'm just such a good person. They don't have actual virtue, they have virtue signaling. And so when you stand up and you say the emperor has no clothes, it's a big deal, and they know it, and that's why they're trying to silence you. And I'm glad that they're not. So Louis, thank you for coming on. It's been another great conversation. I know that there's still more that we haven't discussed, so I look forward to talking to you again. And I wish you all the best, and I hope that when you reach and you get the signatures that you need, that we're going to have a show celebrating the fact that you were successful in recalling these school board members. And now you're really busy, because now you've got to run a campaign and get new members elected. And that's a whole nother journey, but it's something that you can do. And I think that what's happened to your daughter, that might be the thing that's waking up a sleeping giant. This silent majority, we are the majority. We can't be silent. We got to wake up. We've got to fight for these girls.
Yep. I told the community, I've already done all the legwork. Just stand up with me. I did all the work. I'm getting all the punches for you, but stand. Don't be afraid. And that's what it is. They get afraid because they're so intimidating and so bullying. I said, I'll take the punches for you, but let's stand. We have to stand for what's right. No boys in girls' bathrooms.
Exactly. And today you're going to be speaking with a chapter chair, a Moms for Liberty chapter chair in your area. And I'm very excited about that, because that's what we do in Moms for Liberty. Not only do I have this national show, and I'm in DC right now, White House correspondent, and I do social media, but I am a state, in my state, I'm a state legislative committee chair. I am a state chapter chair. I work in my state and local community. And so in your community, there are Moms for Liberty chapters, and I'm really glad they're coming to meet with you in person, talk with you, and help you. And that's what we do. So if you're listening and you're going through something like this, please reach out to me. My DMs are open, and you can email me at scarlett@momsforliberty.org. Really easy. And it's moms4 liberty.org. And let me know what's going on. You could go to just go to momsforliberty.org, and you can see, is there a chapter in your area? If not, send an email and see if we can connect with the closest chapter to you. So we definitely want to help you. We have intake forms, legal intake forms. We have a team, and want to be there for as many parents as we possibly can. Thank you, Louis, for coming on. Good luck I'll be watching, cheering you on, and I know we're going to be putting out some reels that you're going to be doing. So, since the last that our audience is going to see of you.
Yeah. Thank you, Scarlett, and thank you, Moms for Liberty.
Lewis, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for having the courage to keep standing when so many others would just back down. So many others might think it's easier just to be quiet. Thank you. You are showing what courage looks like and standing up and fighting for your daughter, Brooklyn, in such a brave way. So I commend you. To every parent watching, this is not an abstract policy debate. This is a real 9-year-old little girl who became afraid to use the bathroom at her own elementary school. She's just in 3rd grade, just in 3rd grade. Her father refused to accept that that's normal. Her mother refused to just let the principal keep ignoring her. Both of these parents decided they weren't just going to sit down, they were going to fight. And they have done such a beautiful job of doing that. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. Don't accept boys in a girl's bathroom as the new normal. It is not. If you want to support the Rivera family, information on the recall petition and Lewis's public statements will be in the description and in the chat. So please reach out. And if you live in Rochester, Massachusetts, if you live in the vicinity of this school district and you're eligible to sign that recall petition, please do it. And you know what? Bring everyone in your family that's over 18 over and sign it. I think it's so brave what he's doing. As somebody who recalled 4 school board members, it's very hard, but the work, it's good work. It's good work. Lewis is a father, a fighter, and a man who refused to accept that his daughter's privacy was negotiable. We will keep following this story. And if you are going through something similar, please reach out. Like I said, I will provide all of the resources that you can reach out in the links. Thank you for watching this episode of Unleashed. Thank you for being in this fight. God bless you. Before I fully let you go, I want to talk to you about Patriot Mobile. Reliable internet isn't a luxury anymore. It's a necessity. I know that all too well. There's a couple incidents, but during recording this show, I'm at a hotel where reliable internet is really important. And when I'm not home, I only know that all too well. So when you're on the road, working remotely, living rural, or you just want to back up for when your home service goes down, Patriot Mobile Connect keeps you online. This is something that I'm going to be looking into because I'm on the road and I'm reporting and then the internet stops working and it's a nightmare. So I'm definitely going to be looking into Patriot Mobile Connect. I need it. It's a portable hotspot that automatically switches to the strongest available network. So you're not hunting for a signal. You're not looking for which Wi-Fi is available. It's easy setup, flexible data, and no long-term contracts. And it's Patriot Mobile, America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. So go to patriotmobile.com/M4L. See right here? Go there and sign up. And guess what? There's a little bit extra bonus. If you use this promo code, M4L, right there, use that promo code, you get 1 month free. So use the promo code, 1 month free service. So isn't it time that you switched to America's only Christian conservative wireless provider? I think it is. So check out Patriot Mobile. Hey, Joyful Warriors, we've got big news. Moms for Liberty's National Summit is headed to Dallas, Texas. The date's October 8th through the 11th. The theme this year, boots on the ground, because that's exactly where change happens, on the ground in your local community. And organizing at a grassroots level is kind of our thing, you know, kind of a big deal in that area. And we're a volunteer army of moms and dads fighting for parental rights and for sanity in kind of a world gone mad. So we're bringing together parents, chapter leaders, teachers, advocates from across the nation for 3 full days of training, strategy, and making real relationships. You'll hear from the top voices on education, parental rights, and the founding principles that matter so much. This is our 5th anniversary, and we've spent this year celebrating America's 250th birthday. And now we're going to celebrate both in Dallas in October. So if you haven't registered, you need to register. You're going to make new friends, you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to be among like-minded moms. I'm going to be there, and you're going to have some fun. And while you're having fun, you're going to have a very meaningful experience. Every summit is different from the last, and it's so meaningful. Everyone walks away like, sorry that it's ending. There's always a lot of tears, and they're happy tears, because it's just so nice to be with your people. So if you've ever felt like you're fighting alone in your school district or in your community, like Lewis, if you feel like, hey, am I really all alone? You aren't. You're not alone. You have community, like they like to say, like community. You do, and it's with us. So you need to sign up. Tickets are available now, and I can just go right here, momsforliberty.org/summit26. Just go here, check it out. You can also look at past summits. We've got all of that on our website at momsforliberty.org. Get these tickets now, make your travel arrangements, or make your carpool arrangements. Just be there. I can't wait to meet you. Dallas, October 8th through the 11th, boots on the ground. We'll see you there.
Dear Nike.
Dear Nike.
Dear Nike.
Why won't you stand up for me? Why won't you stand up for me? Why won't you?
Why do you claim to support women and girls?
Yet when we need you most, you remain silent.
Today, males are claiming our identity,
our sports,
our spaces.
Men and boys are stealing opportunities, medals,
trophies,
and our future.
And it's not fair or just.
In fact, it's often dangerous. Yet you refuse to use your platform to stand up.
You say you're for social justice and progress.
So why do you allow men's rights to come before ours?
See, with a big platform
comes an even bigger responsibility.
You have a chance to do the right thing.
Not just do the easy thing.
So we're asking you, Nike.
So we're asking you, Nike.
So we're asking you, Nike.
As the biggest voice in all of sports.
Will you stand up for me? Will you stand up for me? Will you stand up for me?
Will you stand up for me? Will you?
Will you?
Will you just do it?